afternoon, good evening, good morning, happy birthday to everyone. I don't know. Is it your
To
birthday? If it is,
everyone.
to everyone. Yes, everyone who's having a birthday. If it is your birthday, seriously, yeah, happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is even more wonderful now because here's another episode of Dan and Frankie Go to Hollywood. I am Dan.
And I'm Frankie.
Yeah, normally I say my name's Dan. That felt kind of weird, but anyway. Um, Frankie, what the hell? Like the Deaf Academy Awards blew up. Um, who saw that
Yeah,
coming? Certainly not me.
no,
How you feeling about your newfound fame and glory?
hardly.
Yeah, I know.
No, but it's fun because, yeah, I watched it to see, or I watched the beginning of it to see
Hmm.
your graphics for the intro because I didn't know what you were going to do
Hmm.
because why would I? You're the one sitting there editing all our stuff. So, yeah, that was really cool. It was quite, um, you know, it was a really getting everyone hyped up intro
Yeah.
going from the red carpet into the ceremony. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Well, I
that
mean,
was
that's
really
what they
cool.
do with, like the Oscars and stuff after the red carpet thing that goes on for way too long. Then, you have the big sort of, glamorous intro. And yeah, I just kind of thought, you know what? It's not what we need, it's what the people need. So yeah, no, that was a lot of fun to come up with and what have you. But yeah, like I mean, we were hoping that video was going to maybe get a few more hits than we usually do. And yeah, the last few days I don't know why. I don't know if it was because we've just been really promoting this on social media. I don't know like what's going on, but yeah, we've clocked in, what is it, almost up to 1,500 views now, like 1,400 and something. Yeah, and a buttload of new YouTube subscribers as well. So yes, if you guys are currently watching and you're a new subscriber, welcome aboard. And yeah, thanks to everyone who watched that thing. Like we were both incredibly surprised, just suddenly watching the numbers just going up and up and up and up. But yeah, but of course the awards thing, wasn't without its controversy. It seems that
I have one thing to add too.
mhm,
This happened for my end of year stuff as well. I had a complete mind blank on the Bike Riders being a 2024
right.
film, and I don't know, like I forgot to put it in my list that I had of all my 2024 movies.
Hmm.
And you might say, well, if I didn't think about it, it can't have been that great, but it was.
Mm,
And I totally would have put Tom Hardy up for coolest actor. He wouldn't have
hmm.
won, but
Yeah.
he should have been up there.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Do you
just want to
reckon
highlight that.
it would have made any other categories, or
Um,
none
I
that you can think of?
No, don't put me on the spot. I haven't
No,
had
that's okay.
coffee. I should
That's
have
all
had
right.
coffee.
That is all right. But look, I deeply regret to say that we offended somebody. Okay, I'm just going to come straight out with it. We had a letter of complaint. We've had our first letter of complaint. Um, I should add to that, very tongue in cheek. So we received a strongly worded message from one Mr. Buffy Prescott, who said, "Thanks for the pump up during my introduction. Appreciate, but in capital letters, all that challenges hate will not stand, man. If you didn't dig the film, that's one thing, but the score is fucking ace. I'm not usually one for using the taste makers for backup, but in this case, I gotta. This nabbed the Golden Globe for best score. I expect a full apology on the next pod from both of you. I am happy to write it for you. And then thanks again. But yeah, oh. Now, when I sent that to you, like, how did that make you feel? Like,
Well, I mean, I will just say that awards mean nothing.
hmm,
Yes.
including ours. I mean, it's just for
Yeah.
fun. Like,
No, I know a lot of people love that soundtrack. Well, like I said, I don't even remember what it sounds like now. So,
hmm, hmm,
um, yeah, I I don't even remember if I disliked it or it's just that it just didn't stand out enough to make
Mm.
me seek it out and listen to it.
Yeah, well, as I've said in the past, like I did actually listen to it on Spotify because I kind of thought, look, maybe listening to it, away from that god awful disaster of a film, it might be good music. In my opinion, it was not good music. So look, yeah, we Buffy Prescott, we're very sorry. Okay, I just want to say straight out from both of us, we're very sorry that you have this taste in music, and that you have to rely on the opinions of others to back you up. No, there was once upon a time years ago, I opened my front door and there was this huge box of movies, like Blu-rays, DVDs, all this sort of stuff there, and it actually took me a good few weeks before I knew who left it there. Like I had no idea. I just thought, holy shit, like this is absolutely crazy. Who does that? But it turns out it was Sean, aka Buffy Prescott. Check him out on Spotify. And I was going through it and the what I'm trying to get at is I'm not surprised that we got this message because, there were a lot of those movies that I was kind of like, yep, I can see why someone would give that away. I mean, I kept a handful, but remember when you came over that time and I was just like, look here, you can choose from any of these, and there was these massive piles of movies, and even you were kind of like, I'll have that one. Yeah, so it's not really that surprising that you Buffy would appreciate that score, judging by your taste in movies. So yeah, that's our rebuttal. But no, it's all in good fun. We look, we are the sort of people who we would have loved to have enjoyed it as well. We want to enjoy everything that we see
It's
or
Trent
hear.
Reznor. Like, why would you not want to
Exactly.
enjoy his music?
Exactly. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, we are the losers because we didn't get to like it. So yeah, but anyway, but no, thank you for writing to us and giving us permission to read that out. That was awesome.
Do you know,
Um,
someone mentioned on a podcast I was listening to about challenges getting no love at the Oscars, and I was just like, oh, yeah,
hmm.
that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe awards shows do know what they're doing. Who knows? But anyway, so look, what's been going on in the world of movies and stuff?
Well, something that I know some people have mentioned, but it
Mm,
it just happened to me, so I'm
oh,
going to mention it now. But well, the good news first. I got an email. Like this news came out a couple of weeks ago, roundabout, and
mm-hmm,
I just didn't know until Disney sent me this email saying, "Hey, we're updating our subscriber agreement because of the soon to be ESPN launch." And I was like, what's happening? What's this ESPN launch? And yeah,
mm,
Disney are getting ESPN added as one of their things.
mm-hmm,
And I like baseball, and I once subscribed to KO for watching baseball last year, which is a sports only app, and it's a lot more expensive monthly price than any of the other streaming services.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then that's it. Whereas now I can subscribe to Disney and get ESPN and also get all the movie stuff as
Woohoo!
well. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Don't know when it's happening, apparently sometime this year. So
Mm-hmm,
we'll see. But in reading what they've updated to their subscriber agreement, I saw the little paragraph that other people have mentioned where they say, oh, you might get ads now, even if you're on the no ads tier of subscribing. And I'm
mm,
like, why is everyone doing this now? Like they say, they have their ad tier for people who want to pay less, which is fine. But then the people who pay more to get no ads are now still going to have to get ads. Like,
right,
why
right.
pay for no ads if they're going to give us ads anyway?
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of ads they're going to do because some apps are terrible with ads.
Mm,
And then other ones, like Amazon, have ads, and I haven't upgraded. So I'm on the ad one because I don't watch a lot there. But some
mm,
things, they have ads before the show or movie starts.
mm,
And then some things don't even have ads in them after that, or they might just have one. So,
mm.
that's okay. So
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
this Disney thing is just going to be for particular things,
Yeah.
rarely, because they don't really say, but they just kind of say sometimes you might have to have ads.
Hmm. Although we should point out, of course, that when you discuss this on Blue Sky, Darth Vader, bass player virtuoso, did chime in with Hulu slash Disney slash ESPN has been a thing for half a decade. That emoji. Yeah,
Yeah.
because apparently, like what are you even talking about, Frankie? Don't you live in
Yeah.
America? Doesn't everybody live in America? What an absolute dickhead. But
Yeah, Hulu that we don't even get. But also, it's just
yeah.
funny that he thinks if I lived in America, I would not have any idea that Disney has those
Oh,
things
I know. It's
when I talked
yeah.
about having Disney. So
Yeah, I know. It just that was one of the most American comments that I've seen in a long time.
I was wondering
Um,
how they found it because it's not someone I know, it's just a random person. But I
yeah.
think because I was having a conversation with someone who said they were a Dodgers fan, and I think maybe they were just searching Dodgers because it
All
seemed, I
right.
had a look at some of their posts and it seemed like they're a
Yeah.
Dodgers fan. So I guess that's how they found it, and I and
Hmm.
felt the need to comment.
Yeah, but no, well done, Darth Vader, bass player virtuoso, for making a complete fool of yourself on an international forum. That's round of applause. But anyway, that actually
Mm,
pained my heart because like Darth Vader and bass playing, like two things I love so much, and then there's this guy. But anyway, but back to the streaming thing. Look, yeah, this is a big issue because as you of all people well know, I feel icky about the way that streaming is, taking over the world and becoming such a big thing, and and you know, there are little clues that you and I like physical media. I don't know, like I'm just saying, there are clues. For those of you listening on audio, both of our backgrounds right now are walls of Blu-rays.
mm.
Um,
Plus, you would have heard us mention
well,
talking
there's
about.
that, yeah. Yeah, I firmly believe I'm in the camp that if you're paying for a service, you shouldn't be getting ads. You got things like is it Tubi, isn't it? Like it's a free service, but you occasionally get ads, and I'm fine with that because it's a free service. So to
Mm.
me, that is a reasonable exchange. So I will never complain about ads there, but yeah, so in my 59,000 unread emails, that is not a joke. In my Hotmail account, currently have 59,000 unread emails. Um, I missed the one from Amazon that apparently said that there was going to be new tiers of paid
Yeah, which happened
memberships.
quite like a year ago or more,
Hey,
probably now.
59,000 emails, that didn't
Yeah,
happen in like the space of a couple of months, lady. I've been collecting those for a
I
long
know,
time now.
but just, are you sure you're not missing other things that you
Oh, I
should be
probably
reading?
am. Like, apparently we're doing a podcast. I didn't even know. So yeah, so I was watching a movie a few nights ago on Amazon, which I pay for, and yeah, I was caught by surprise when, like, in the middle of it, an ad break came up, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Why is there an ad break in my movie? And then yeah, when we got talking about it, then you mentioned that Amazon has these different tiers now, and there is if I want to pay even more than I'm already paying for, then I can go ad
Although
free.
I
But
will say Amazon is one of the cheapest,
that's
possibly
true.
the cheapest of all the streaming
Yeah,
services.
yeah.
Plus, it's part of the Prime membership. So
See,
you're
that's the
getting all
thing.
the free delivery and whatever stuff as well.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why there's no way I would get rid of Amazon because of that. So
Yeah.
yeah. But it still kind of caught me by surprise. But yeah, look, the whole thing, with streaming, it's just everything is just about making money. Like I don't get the feeling that any of these companies really genuinely care about catering to what the customers want. And that's evidenced by the fact that a lot of times movies will be on there for a while and then disappear, and it's like, oh well, okay, don't have that movie anymore or whatever. So yeah, I don't know, this to me is just another really big reason
Well,
why I
it's
advocate physical media.
Yeah, it's like people say that, streaming seems to be doing full circle back to what cable was or
Hmm.
is, that you
Yeah.
pay for it, but then you're still getting all the ads because,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
that's just how things
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look, I actually,
But yeah,
mm,
plus side, of course, though, I'm still just focusing on the plus side that I can
mm,
get ESPN paying Disney's price rather than paying for KO.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I would watch a couple of other things on there, but not much because I don't watch sport very much at all.
Hmm. All right. So in other news, something came along that caught my attention. That yeah, it was kind of one of those things that, and speaking of Amazon, that initially I didn't really think much of, but then I kind of thought of the bigger implications of it, and that is the fact that. Amazon has bought the James Bond franchise, reportedly for around $1 billion.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, at first I kind of thought, okay, like that's cool. But then I was sort of thinking like about the bigger picture. And again, it all actually comes back to I never even actually thought about how our two news things tie in together. Um, yeah, because like like I said, streaming companies, are just all about the mighty dollar these days, and don't really sort of care that much. I mean, look what happened with freaking Star Wars. I mean, when I grew up, it was like just these three movies that we absolutely worshipped that were the greatest movies ever made. Later on, along came the prequels, and we were like, okay, like we accept these movies. We don't love these movies, but we accept them. But then all of a sudden, we had the sequel, and like, when Disney suddenly took over, and now there's like so many TV shows and spin-offs and everything, and it's like I went from being an absolute diehard Star Wars fan to someone who I don't even care about all the stuff anymore. I haven't even seen most of the new content that's come out, and it feels weird to me, yeah, but it's because a lot of the content that is coming out genuinely feels like it's just there to make money. There's no heart to the storytelling. And I know there's a lot of people who feel the same way. Like right now, there are most likely a few people out there listening to this going, "Pfft, man, that guy knows what he's talking about," which is the first time ever. But I'm kind of thinking like
Yeah.
the same thing may happen with the James Bond
I
franchise.
I'm pretty neutral on this news, not because
Mm,
I don't care and don't think things will happen now, but
whoops.
because I've only seen two James Bond movies, so
Yeah.
I am not
Don't judge
invested in
her.
the franchise.
Yeah.
Hey, I liked those movies.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying I'm not like a diehard fan like
Yeah.
most people are. And I have seen the responses on social media, and yeah, pretty much that's everyone's like, well, James Bond is dead. It's going to be all spin-off shows and
Mm.
things now. So no one is confident that anything good is going to come from this.
Yeah. I mean, look, time will
Apparently,
tell, obviously.
what's his name? Jeff Bezos, the
Yeah.
owner, apparently like posted online. Who
Oh,
should be the
okay.
next James Bond?
Yeah, yeah, right. Well, I mean, I would throw Bongo into that mix. I think that would just be the best movie ever made. James Bongo. Yeah, look, I'm not like a mega James Bond fan, but like I've seen nearly every movie at the cinema. Like I think going back to uh,
Every movie at the cinema, every
yeah.
recent movie at the cinema, I think you
Uh
mean.
no, actually going back
Really?
as far as Octopussy in the 80s.
Yeah, but I mean, wasn't there quite a few before then?
Yeah, but
You said nearly
I
all. It just made it
well,
sound
yeah, but
like
if
you
you
were
bring up a
quite old.
list of like
Okay,
what is
okay.
it like
I give up.
30
Continue your story.
30 movies or something. So I would say that I've seen the majority of them in cinemas. Okay, maybe nearly all is probably not the right choice of words, but I've seen the majority, maybe. I've seen more than half of them in the theater. Um, and yeah, like I own every single one on Blu-ray, and I've seen a lot of them numerous times, like particularly um movies like GoldenEye, which is just so amazingly good. Seen that so many times.
Who's your favorite
Um,
Bond?
Sorry, what's that?
Who's your favorite Bond?
Oh, nice one.
I don't really know. I only know two of them,
Yeah, yeah,
and
right.
one from seeing things that are not the actual
Yeah.
movies. But
Ah, I mean, I like all of them for various reasons.
oh, he's so diplomatic rather.
Like Roger Moore was freaking campy as hell, but good fun. He was kind of like my gateway Bond. Like, when I was a kid, I think he was the first one that I kind of really noticed. I did like the seriousness of Timothy Dalton. But look, yeah, it had come down to Pierce Brosnan versus Daniel Craig for me, and oh. Yeah, like Daniel Craig was more again like a serious kind of a Bond. Ah, you got me. I'm actually look, I'm gonna go with Pierce Brosnan. I know that a few of the Pierce Brosnan films were pretty trashy. But there were a couple of really, really great ones. Yeah, I mean, I still think the new Casino Royale is the best Bond film. But yeah, as far as my personal taste, I kind of lean towards Pierce
Hmm.
Brosnan.
I will see the films one day. I did
Mm.
plan to watch all of them, and I just forgot. So
It's like, oh, what was I gonna do today?
now
No,
you
I
know
just
how
can't
many
remember.
movie projects I have going on. I watched
I
Doctor
do.
No, and then
Yeah, yeah.
and then I stopped, and then I watched Casino Royale because of the poker
Mm.
stuff and Mads, and
Yeah.
then yeah, so I know two Bonds
Yeah, yeah,
briefly,
right.
but it's funny because Daniel Craig, like I've seen him in other things that are not so serious, and it just
Mm.
seems a bit weird because I just saw him. I don't know if I saw him in other stuff, but it's a big deal that he was Bond. So I just think
Mm.
Daniel Craig Bond, and then I see him do something comedic, and it
Mm.
just seems weird to see him
Yeah,
not
yeah.
all like in a suit and
Right, right.
being very
Yeah.
serious.
I think for me as well, Pierce Brosnan has a nostalgia factor because, like, when GoldenEye came
Mm.
out in, I want to say 97, like I was working in a cinema at the time, and like that movie was just mind-blowingly huge, and getting to be around that sort of atmosphere was really cool. And then, of course, the Nintendo 64 game came out, which I don't know if you're very familiar with it, but
Nope.
that game was everything because it introduced like a four-way split screen thing where you could get all your friends around to, go around shooting each other and stuff. And like, oh my God, that game was huge. So there are a lot of sort of things like that that kind of influenced my decision. I mean, Daniel Craig is
That's
probably,
valid.
yeah.
I don't understand people that are anti nostalgia. Like
Mm,
I don't get like for movies and stuff. I don't get why it's a bad thing
yeah, yeah,
to have that nostalgia. Like
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
fun. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Daniel Craig is there's no doubt he's a better Bond actor. Yeah, but so for me, yeah, anyway. But look, we've talked about Bond for way too long. No, that was very interesting. But yeah, so in the couple of weeks since we last did a regular episode, I think it's safe to assume you've watched a couple of movies here and there.
Yeah, I've watched a few.
What you
And
been
we
watching?
we both watched one. Should we start with the one we both
I
watched?
think we should
It is a
because
new movie as well.
it is. I know. My God, actually watched a 2025 movie. So thus far it is
I
in
watched three 2025 movies in the last period
ew, look at you.
after a slow start.
Yeah. No, so far for all of my DAF Academy Award categories for next year, of course, this movie is in all of them because it's the only one. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. But of course, we are talking about Companion. Yeah, which is a movie that we've both been very keen to see.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't know much about it going in. You knew even less than nothing about
Yes,
it.
although I kind of, yeah, it's interesting marketing because I saw the teaser early on that didn't really give away anything of what it was about,
Hmm.
but then the poster did,
It did,
and
yeah.
then the trailer did, but I didn't watch the trailer.
Mm.
And but I was talking to someone at work and who also hadn't seen the trailer or anything, and he just guessed she was a robot
Oh, okay, right.
from the poster. So I
Oh,
had
she was
that
a
in my
robot.
head as I
Oh, that
started
makes sense.
watching. And then, but then they revealed that pretty early on.
Yeah.
And I listened to an interview with the director afterwards on Colors of the Dark, and he
Hmm.
said that, you know, he was happy to have that reveal rather than hide it because then you get to that reveal and you're like, oh, okay, so what's going to happen next? And then
Mm.
there's all the twists and turns
Wasn't
afterwards.
there?
So it's not like the main big reveal that's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
ruin the movie if you know it
Mm.
because yeah, it's pretty early on that you find out.
Mm. Funnily enough, I think it was just that earlier that day, I had told my wife Kylie about it. I was like, "Oh, this movie Companion, I really want to see it." And I gave her a very brief rundown of the synopsis. Killer robot, blah blah blah. And she's like, "Okay, yeah, sounds cool." So that night we watched it, and she had totally forgotten about what I had told her. Which, yeah, having 9-month-old twins will do that. But yeah, she completely forgotten. So I had so much joy at the moment, where Josh's like, Iris, go to sleep, and she's like, boom, and the eyes go weird, and Kylie was just like, what the fuck? It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
I had fun with that too because while it was in my head,
Hmm.
like that's, it's a sudden moment that it's revealed. So
Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
fun. But it's an interesting movie too, because right from that opening scene in the supermarket, you're watching that going to something not right about this scene.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, her narration at the start. So you know that
Hmm.
he's going to die. So then it's in your head, like, what's he going to do that he dies?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with this film. Look, I fucking loved this movie. I gave it 5 stars. There was absolutely nothing I could think of that I didn't like about it. It was one of those films that it sort of took a concept that has been done before, but it still managed to make it feel fresh. And yeah, even knowing the basic premise of it, and I hadn't actually seen the trailer for it. I just kind of read a couple of things here and there, but even knowing that, like, my God, yeah, there were so many twists and turns, and I loved that about it because it just always kept you intrigued. Like, there was not a single dull moment in this film. And I was
Yeah,
ready to
I'm
watch it
glad
again the
that
next
I
night.
didn't watch the trailer because the trailer doesn't give stuff away, but it has
Hmm.
flashes of different moments through the movie, like
Hmm.
without context. But I just really loved having absolutely no idea what was going to come next.
Yeah.
Like once it's revealed, and I was like, okay, that's the only thing I knew about the movie
Hmm.
was it was likely that that was it. So
Yeah.
what's happening now? And there was another review. I have to talk to you after we're done recording because there's another reveal later that I had no idea. So that was another fun, like it's a
Hmm.
very sudden reveal and
Hmm.
I had no idea. Like I hadn't even thought about
Right,
that
right.
being a thing.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm.
um Jack Quaid really stood out to me in this movie.
Mm.
As far as an actor playing a part because he's not a great guy, so bit of a
Mm.
spoiler there, but
As,
you
as
find out pretty
in terms
quickly.
of the character, we should add, like,
Yeah,
in real life, he probably is a
well
really
that's
great
what I
guy.
mean, that's why I really
Mm.
like him as an actor because even though he was playing a character I didn't like he had enough charm in as a person to
Mm.
make me enjoy disliking the character because sometimes when you watch a movie you hate like challenges. You
Oh,
hate
yeah.
characters so much that it just makes you angry because
Yeah.
you just hate them so much, and then other characters you hate that maybe could be just as bad. There's
Mm.
different levels of how much you dislike them and how terrible they are,
Mm.
but you can enjoy the worst of people as a character,
Mm-hmm.
like not condoning, obviously. I just mean you can enjoy hating the bad guy,
Mm.
and that's fine. And then other times it kind of ruins the movie because you're so. I have to watch Gone Girl again because that movie made me so angry just on a story level. And then I'm like, I need to watch it again to see, like, was it a first time watch? If I know stuff, will it make me less angry?
Right,
So,
right.
and then you have like the social network, which I've brought up quite a lot before, where I just hated everyone in it so much that I just can't stand the movie, even though it's a well made movie. So, yeah,
Hmm.
this one was like, hated the guy, but loved watching Jack Quaid
Yeah,
act
yeah.
that character.
I
So,
thought it was distracting though how much he looks like his dad. Like, holy crap, especially that mouth. Like, that is just crazy. If yeah, it'd be kind of cool though if ever Dennis like needed a actor to play his younger self. Like, yeah, there's one. But yeah, look, overall,
and then just also not to discount Sophie Thatcher, who
yeah.
I first saw in Yellow Jackets, and she
Hmm.
was definitely the standout character in that. I
Hmm.
still have to go back and watch that. I've only seen the first season, but
Yeah,
yeah, so
right.
seeing her pop up in other things has been really fun because she was really good in Heretic as well. So
Which yeah, which I'm really keen to see. Actually, yeah, there's a bunch of movies that she's in, like Maxine, Heretic, The Boogeyman, of all of which I haven't seen. The only thing that I had seen her in, going back to shitty Star Wars shows, was the Book of Boba Fett. She was in that, and I vaguely remember I thought she was actually not too bad in that show, but yeah. So no, I've got to catch up with a bunch of those films. And credit where credit is due as well. Buffy Prescott gave this movie 4 stars. So, yeah, and a cracking review
yeah,
on
I know
Letterboxd. So,
we gave him crap before, but I have
yeah.
noticed that quite often he and I will have the same ratings on a
Oh,
lot of
look, I'm the
movies.
same. Yeah,
So yeah, everyone
yeah.
has their little bad taste section in the eyes of other people. So
Look, I think what you're trying to say, but in a nice way, is like it's okay for people to occasionally be wrong. So yeah, but look, overall, yeah, Companion blew my mind. I'm going to be buying that on Blu-ray easily the day it
yeah,
comes
I
out or the
already
week it
have
comes
that
out.
in my wish list on JB because I was
Yeah.
pretty sure I was going to like it. So I was like, I'm just going to put it there so it's ready to go when it gets
Yeah.
released.
I didn't know what I was going to think of it, but oh my God, yeah, by the end of it I was just like wide-eyed like, "Oh my God, this movie was so good." So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was very the one thing that I didn't enjoy so much was
Mm.
all its like messaging. It was very in your face.
Yeah, but I didn't mind because I mean it's important
Yeah,
messaging.
I know, but
So
that's just that, some movies just throw it in your face and other movies
mm,
are a bit less obvious about it. So,
okay, right, right. Okay, fair enough.
hmm.
Oh. What else you got?
Well, after watching that, I
Mm,
was like, I feel like Jack Quaid is everywhere at the moment because he's got that Novocaine movie coming out soon, and I keep seeing things for that. And I
right.
know well, I know because I looked it up. He's been around for years.
Hmm.
So I don't know if it's only just now he's getting major roles and that's why, or I don't know,
Hmm.
he's hit his stride in his 30s or what. I don't know. I do know he's in The Boys, which I
Mm.
really need to see because I keep looking. It's another thing it keeps coming back. I wanted to watch it since it first came out and I just haven't got
Mm.
to it. And I keep leading back to it, looking up people.
Oh,
So I
it's a
will watch
great
that.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like the kind of show
It
I
is a
would
show that
love.
I've actually watched a lot of. So yeah, I haven't watched all of it, but
Well, that doesn't
yeah.
surprise me because of the small amount of TV shows that you watch,
Yeah.
generally related to comics or superhero type things. So,
That's true. Yeah, can't
yeah.
deny that.
So, I'm going to watch that very soon. But as I was looking at what he was in, he's in some Star Trek show as well, in a main character in that because he's in tons of
Okay.
episodes. So, I guess he's been doing more TV stuff, and that's why I haven't noticed till now.
Right.
But I saw a picture of him from Logan Lucky,
Hmm.
and which is a movie that I keep seeing around and mixing up with Logan.
Oh, right.
And so I
That
didn't
Logan
even
was not
know.
so lucky.
Yeah. I had no idea that it was a heist movie or anything because
Right, right.
I had just seen it, but I hadn't investigated it. But after seeing the picture of his character,
Mhm.
he's got like long hair and stuff. So it's,
Mm.
that's my thing. I decided to watch it last night and it's so good. So have you seen it?
Mm. Yeah, I saw it when it
You,
was on at the movies because I wanted to review it for my YouTube channel, Movie Talk with Dan Jensen. And I was not that big a fan.
oh,
I from memory, because it's been what year did that come out? Was it
2017.
2017? So yeah, that was like when my channel was in its infancy. I from memory, I didn't absolutely hate it, but I thought it was kind of bland at the time.
Wow.
But it could be one of those things, sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, but then you go back and rewatch it and you're like, holy shit. Um actually I was thinking of you last night. I was reading a bunch of stuff about Tarantino because Battle Royale, like I read a thing where he said that it was like his favorite film out of, released in the last 20 years when it came out or something. Um and I read this list of movies that Tarantino was recommending and stuff. And so one of them was Dunkirk and
Which the original one?
the Christopher Nolan,
Okay.
yeah.
Just
And
because I'm confused because I didn't realize you were reading a modern Tarantino thing. I thought you
oh
meant
yeah,
at
no, it
the
was from
time.
like last year or something.
Yeah, because you just the
Um
way you said about at the time Battle Royale came out, so I thought you meant an interview from that time when
no,
he
no,
said that.
he said that at the
Okay.
time, yeah.
That's why I was just
So
making sure which Dunkirk.
yeah, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, he said the first time he watched Dunkirk, he wasn't really that impressed because it was sort of all spectacle and he was kind of like, eh. But he said it wasn't until the third time that he watched it that he really started getting into the story and characters and everything, and it really, clicked with him. And I was kind of thinking, wow, like this dude gave this movie three chances. Like that's pretty crazy. But I quite often have movies that I, watched and just wasn't in the right frame of mind or whatever, and then later on I'll go back and check it out. Train Spotting was a really prime example. The first time I ever saw that film when it was out in cinemas, I hated it. I thought it was one of the worst films I'd ever seen. And then,
Wow.
as the years went on and people kept, absolutely singing praises to this film and proclaiming it as, just like one of the best films of the 90s and everything, I was kind of like, maybe I should give it another shot. And I did. And something, yeah, it was a completely different
Mm.
experience. I was like, oh
It
my God, this movie's
definitely
amazing.
I definitely think some movies can have a second, like some movies you just don't like, but
Mm,
some movies definitely can be different,
mm.
especially if a lot of years pass.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
you know that thing, sometimes when you get older, different things stand out.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I've been using Letterboxd since I think like the end of 2016.
Hmm.
And so I have rewatched things that I logged on Letterbox and I
Hmm.
have increased my star rating. And sometimes I'm confused at my former self for giving
Right.
such a low rating.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right.
sometimes they go down as well. But
Mm.
yeah, so I know it does happen. So you'll have to watch
Mm.
this again because
Yeah,
I'm the
I'd give this
opposite
one a
of
go.
you. I thought it was interesting the whole way. I started it last night and I was pretty
Mm.
sure it was too late for me to watch the whole thing,
Mm.
but I very nearly stayed up too late to finish it because I was having such a good time.
Yeah,
And I
right.
just thought it was interesting. It's a heist movie, but it was different from um, what I've seen because it
Mm.
was at a speedway, and the way that they dealt with the money there is something I haven't seen. So it was pretty
Mm.
interesting seeing how they were working to pull it off. And I just thought the
Yeah, yeah.
characters are really interesting. The cast was fantastic. Adam Driver um, is a standout as he often is in
Mm.
films. I really like him. So yeah, I'm wow. I just
Mm.
saw Sebastian Stan on the list of cast
Well, I'm just looking
members,
at, well,
and
yeah,
I
for starters,
don't remember. Although I don't know him that well, but I'm like, who was he? He
well, for
was
starters, yeah, this movie was directed by Steven Soderbergh, who's one of my most favorite
Agent
directors
White.
in the history of film. But yeah, this
Hmm.
cast list is crazy. Channing
Yeah,
Tatum, Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, Riley Keough, Katie Holmes, Seth MacFarlane, Dwight Yoakam, Sebastian Stan, Jack Quaid, Hilary Swank. Um, Yeah, there are a lot of people in this film. I'm
Yeah.
also noticing, though, let me give that one a like. Fraser Jubb, who is, of course, a friend to the show. I love his review. Starts off with, "This was not the Wolverine movie I was expecting." Um,
Good to know I'm
Pros.
not the only one getting titles mixed up.
Yeah, yeah. Pros. Chemistry between Channing Tatum and Adam Driver was good, really
Hmm.
brought them as being brothers. Acting from everyone was good. Adam Driver was slightly better than others. A couple of scenes I really enjoyed, the bar scene near the beginning and the bomb scene. Cons. There was no climax to this movie. No moment where you thought their heist was going to go wrong. It just happens. The storyline that involved FBI just seems really pointless. Like they're just there to spell things out for you and planting seeds for a sequel. Look, actually, I'm not going to go. I actually just clicked the more button, and this review is massively long. But yeah, so I'm not going to go into the whole thing. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I do agree the FBI thing was a bit weird, but it was a small part of it. So,
yeah, yeah.
and
Well, in
yeah, it
summary,
doesn't have a big climax like a lot of heist movies do.
mm,
And it had a little bit of tension of things going wrong, but not a lot. But I just feel like it had enough that it didn't matter. It wasn't that kind of movie,
right,
or had
right,
enough for me anyway. What
yeah.
did he rate it in the end?
Well, in summary, he said the ending felt forced, the cinematography was off, and Channing Tatum's character's motivation was poor. He gave it 2.5, and so I'm kind of thinking
Ooh.
like, because yeah, Fraser's another person that I do often, I am on par with his opinions on films, and so I'm wondering
But
if
you
maybe
are
my
often on
original.
par with my thoughts on
Well, that
films.
is that is very true, you see. So I don't know, but
Interesting.
I am
This
gonna
seems to be a divisive movie, but the people
yeah.
I follow on Letterboxd,
Mm,
most of them have given it 4 to 5 stars.
right,
There's
right.
a few three and a halves
Hmm.
and one,
Yeah.
two, one,
No,
two and a half. But
I'll definitely
yeah,
give this one another chance because yeah, I'm
I just
just
thought it
sort
was
of
fun. I don't know.
yeah.
If I have a good time, that's going to increase the rating, even if
Oh yeah.
some like I mean I didn't notice either way what I thought of the cinematography. Like it didn't stand
Mm,
out,
mm,
but I wouldn't say it was bad because I
mm.
don't really notice things like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
that helps
I
me, I guess.
do I mean here's the thing. I do actually remember a couple of scenes from the film, so I yeah, and normally with a film if I really dislike it, I'm just not going to remember it. But I do remember a couple of bits and pieces from that film. So yeah, no, I'll definitely give that one
And
another
that's
shot.
another one that it was funny seeing Daniel Craig as a
Right, right.
criminal because
Hmm. Yeah.
I just, yeah, I don't know. No matter what I see him in, I just think of him as being a really kind of serious person. So
Yeah.
it just gets me every time when he's playing something different.
Yeah, right. So speaking of rewatching things, I rewatched a movie that I am planning on writing a review for the publication that I work for, Independent Australia, plug, plug, plug. And that is the movie Civil War, which I did watch last year and absolutely freaking loved it so goddamn much. I know you weren't quite as into it as I was.
No, but
Um,
I thought it was really good.
yeah, holy shit, the first time I watched that movie, it gripped me. So yeah, the basic premise is there's been a civil war in America and you never find out exactly why. But with everything that's going on over there at the moment, and this is why I kind of thought it's even more relevant film now, and that's why I thought maybe it'd be a good time to write a review of it. Yeah, watching it definitely feels that way. It really feels like, you foreseeing the future. But yeah, so it's about a group of journalists, like photojournalists. There's that whole angle of the importance of photojournalism. I kind of liked, you know, that whole thing of sometimes when you see a photograph from either a war situation or, some big sort of historic event or whatever, that is just like one tiny little snapshot of something that happened. And I like how this film kind of shows you the rest of the scenes from where the people's photographs were coming from, and there's so much more to things that were happening and things like that. So I thought, yeah, the whole photojournalism angle was really interesting, but yeah, it's a hard film to watch. Like there are some extremely brutal moments in the film that still kind of made me feel uneasy to watch because they were done very realistically. Um, but yeah, no, I really love the film. I definitely want to own this one on Blu-ray because yeah, even though it is offered on streaming, it is one of those things where I love the film so much I want to hold it in my hands and caress it and lick it. And no, I don't do that with my movies. Never mind. So yeah, no, I was very happy to rewatch that one. It's not the sort of film that I think, I could sort of rewatch over and over and over again and be like, oh my God, this is so entertaining. It is the sort of film that like, yeah, you got to kind of be in the right mood for. But yeah, no, I still gave it 4.5 stars. It wasn't quite perfect for me. Um, but yeah, no, I was very happy to watch it again.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, I'll just go through my other two recent releases.
Sure.
I saw the documentary
Ooh.
Becoming Led Zeppelin,
Hmm.
which I thought was doing a one weekend only on the weekend that I actually had stuff on both
Right.
days, but they brought it back for a second weekend so I could go see
Woohoo!
it.
Yay!
And that was really fun. I've known their music my whole life because my
Hmm.
dad's a fan, but I've not like looked up their history or anything. So this was pretty much new info for me.
Hmm.
And I saw some people complaining that it didn't cover certain things, but yeah, it's becoming Led Zeppelin. It's
Mm.
covering their early years, just up to about 1970.
Hmm.
And it's got the surviving members talking and remembering things and then showing archival footage. And they have
Right.
audio, an audio interview from John Bonham that apparently has never been heard before. So
Okay.
they've even got his comments
Hmm.
on like early day things.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it was really fun. And I'm glad because I noticed afterwards that overseas, this is apparently an IMAX only
Ah,
release.
wow.
And I guess they decided not to do that in Australia because we only have three IMAX theaters and
Mm.
one only just opened. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't have got too many people going to see it. So I'm
Mm.
glad it came to normal cinemas here.
Yeah, sure.
Because yeah, seeing those early performances on the big screen with the cinema
Mm.
sound was really fun. And
Yeah,
I've seen
right.
other people say this, but after watching the movie, I was like, all I wanted to do for the rest of the day was like listen to their music and watch concert um, movies,
Yeah,
which they
yeah.
don't have too many. Apparently, it's one
Mm.
of one of those things that they're a band that didn't get filmed very
Hmm.
much in their performances, so there's not
Right.
a lot around,
Hmm.
but there's a few, so I will get to them. And
All
then
right.
the other new movie I saw
Well,
was Heart
sorry,
Eyes.
just gotta intervene there. Do you
Mm.
think that the Led Zeppelin documentary would be interesting for someone who isn't really a fan of the band?
Well, I guess if you're a fan of music history,
Yep.
then yeah, because it's telling the story of what they were doing beforehand, and because Jimmy Page played in the Yardbirds and other bands
Yep.
before forming the band, and so it is interesting just showing things from that time and
Hmm.
what they were doing.
Okay. Because
So
yeah, that's
yeah,
one band I could never really get into.
I
Like,
mean, don't go if you dislike their music because you
oh no,
have to
I
sit
don't
through some
dislike it.
performances.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it is quite, I thought it was pretty good just
yeah,
hearing the story of basically music of the late 60s
yeah, yeah.
when they're talking about what they were
Yeah,
doing.
because when I was younger, when I started getting into a lot of hard rock and metal bands, like, everybody cited Led Zeppelin as an influence. And so I kind of thought, oh, I got to get into this band. And so I remember I bought the cassette for, for all of those youngsters listening. We used to listen to
Hey,
music on
cassettes
cassettes.
are back.
Oh, they are. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I bought a tape of Led Zeppelin 3. Um, which of course, like, their first albums were all Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, etc. And yeah, I put it on and I was kind of like, really? Like, I didn't. dig it. And then just a couple of days ago, because you had been talking about this movie a lot, and I actually chucked on Led Zeppelin 4, the unofficially titled Led Zeppelin 4, which a lot of people proclaim is their best album.
Really?
Um, yeah, because I
Huh.
do this thing
Their
if I want to
first
listen.
album, I don't know all their albums. I mainly just listen to the first four, and I know the hits, of course. But the first album is my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes do this thing if I want to get into a band, I will actually do research on like what is their most acclaimed album, both by
Ah, I
critics and
thought you used
fans.
to go back and go from the beginning.
I sometimes do that, but if I can't really decide, then it's like okay, like or yeah, something like this. If I want to be wowed by a band, or by an album, then I'll do that. And yeah, so I put it on and like, yeah, look, I liked it, but yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
remember what's on four off the top of my head, except I think it has a song that I
it's
don't
got Stairway to
particularly
Heaven.
enjoy. Oh, well, yeah.
So there's that one, which again, like I'm not hugely into that song. Like,
Well,
yeah,
two
so
of my three favorite Led Zeppelin songs are on their first album.
right, right.
So that's the one I listen to most, which is why I
Yeah,
haven't
sure.
listened to all of them, because generally, if I'm in the mood, I'll put on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm
Um,
starting to listen to everything because I, a lot of the time, prefer songs that are not singles.
yeah.
So because of that, then I think I really need to listen to all of them because my
Mm.
favorite song could be one I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
sure. So that's why I was asking. Yeah, because I thought, yeah, it might be, and who knows, it might be a case of, watching that documentary and having a better understanding of the band and maybe appreciating the music more. So
mm.
yeah, no, I'd
Well,
definitely give
it's
it a
it's a
look.
good introduction because yeah,
Hmm.
it's got them talking about it and it's got like full song performances and
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. So you get
Hmm.
to enjoy the music as well.
Cool. Now I did interrupt. You said that you had seen Heart Eyes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so Hard Eyes I thought was just a normal slasher for quite a while until
Hmm.
shortly before it came out, and I realized it's like a romantic comedy and a slasher. And
Right.
I enjoy both those worlds. So having them
Hmm.
come together in one movie was really fun.
Hmm.
I thought, yeah, this was a really fun movie. I heard an interview with the director where he said he took inspiration from like Friday the 13th franchise and early Evil Dead movies for
Hmm.
the gore and stuff and the kills and how
Right,
that was
right.
done.
Yep.
And they were pretty cool and pretty full on for the casual viewer, as I found
Hmm.
out talking to someone at work who was like saying, expected a sort of rom com with a bit of horror and then was taken aback by how full on some of the kills were.
Wow,
So
cool.
that was fun. But
Hmm.
yeah, I thought it was really enjoyable. It took a little bit for me to get into it
Hmm.
with the main couple.
Hmm.
And it's sort of a bit of like basically there's a serial killer that is killing couples, and our two main characters come together and are mistaken as a couple by
Hmm.
the killer, and so they are trying to survive the night with this killer
Right,
after
right.
them,
Oh, that's cool.
and kind of getting to know each other as that goes along. So
Hmm.
yeah, your rom-com and your slasher together,
Yeah, yeah, right.
and it's really fun. But also for Australian viewers, in the cinemas how you get those budget direct ads with
Hmm.
the two detectives, and
Yeah,
they've got
yeah,
that
yeah.
whole series of them. I
Yeah.
saw the latest one before this movie. So then when the two detectives in the movie rock up, it's
Hmm.
same vibes as those
Oh,
ads.
wow,
And
that's so
so
cool.
it was really weird. And that's Devon Sawa and who was the lady?
I don't know.
Um,
You're
oh,
the one telling
Jordana
the story.
Brewster.
Oh, okay, right, right.
And they're full on like comic
Hmm.
relief of the movie. They're really funny, and
Okay.
there's some good jokes in there, which I
Right,
won't
right.
spoil. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a pretty funny thing that comes up with them, and yeah, so I it it kind of did the typical horror movie ending, but also didn't. Like
Hmm.
it did a bit of an ambiguous horror movie because I hate horror movie endings where you think it's all done
Hmm.
and then they do something to tease a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought this one was going to avoid it, but then they kind of did something that you could take as that, but you could take it not as that. So I'm taking it as not that.
Right, right. Okay.
But
Uh,
yeah, so definitely a good time. I recommend
hmm.
it.
All right. Yeah, no, that is definitely a movie that yeah, like I haven't seen a trailer or anything like that. But
Yeah,
it
I
does sound
thought
like a
it
fun
seemed
concept.
silly
So
at first, like hard eyes, and you see the hard eyes on the mask, and it was all a bit silly. But
hmm.
yeah, then I watched the trailer and got interested, and then I heard more and got interested. So
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, all right. I watched a movie that I've only just realized it is also a 2025 film. So oh boy, do I have another thing for well, one of our Deaf Academy Awards in particular, but that is the slapping one. So I watched a movie called Into the Deep, which is a shark movie because my wife and I are obsessed with sharks and but kind of in a ironic, humorous sort of a way. Um, and I'm not going to go into that whole story. You know it. But anyway, so she sent me a photo the other day where she had found two new release movies at JB Hi-Fi, Into the Deep and The Last Breath. And I looked these up on Letterboxd and yeah, so Into the Deep had oh God, if you look at the ratings thing on that one, you know, it's like somebody tipped the rating things and they all went down to the ones and twos sort of section. The other one, The Last Breath, kind of had more average things, but so we chose Into the Deep, which is from 2025. And yeah, it's so terrible. It's beyond terrible. It is, my God. Scout Taylor Compton is in this film. She's the lead actress, who she's been in a ton of things. She's most notably, she was in some of the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, I think she annoyed me in those.
Right. She was a very young girl in the first ones that she was in, or something. And then she was in the Rob Zombie ones. She's been in a
Oh
few
yeah, I
other.
meant the Rob Zombie ones. I didn't realize she's in the other ones.
Well, I'm sort of looking her up now, and I thought she was in. I'm sure she was in one of the because I thought that was the whole reason why they got her in the Rob Zombie ones because I thought she was in. But I'm looking up her filmography now, and I
Isn't
think
that
I'm.
Danielle Harris?
Oh yeah, that's who I'm getting confused with. There you go. But I knew she was in. She had something to do with Halloween. But anyway, okay, that's why she didn't look familiar to me. So there you go. Thank you for explaining that. But she's been in a number of films like The Runaways, which is a great film. 13 Going on 30, which I absolutely loved. But oh my God, she was so fucking annoying in this film. It also brings Richard Dreyfuss back into the world of shark movies, and I can honestly say this is the second best shark movie he's ever been in. Um, and also Stuart Townsend, who is, you know, he's been in a lot of things, Queen of the Damned, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, a whole bunch of well-known films. So it had a cast, you know, of people that we've heard of. But yeah, it's essentially about a group of divers who go out looking for treasure and modern day pirates come along and you know take over and hold them at gunpoint and there's two sharks in the water and Danielle Harris Scout Taylor Compton. Oh my God. Her character Cassidy goes through this. So when she was a little girl, she witnessed her dad being mauled to death by a shark, and so she has this annoying series of flashbacks where Richard Dreyfuss's character is her grandfather, and he's kind of, you know, guiding her to let go of her fear and stuff. I've got to say, there was one scene in the film though that absolutely cracked us up so much. So, and spoiler alert to anyone who's actually going to watch this freaking thing, but yeah. So there's a scene where Cassidy is you know down in the water and this giant shark is coming up to her, and the shark just kind of like you know sort of stops and is slowly coming towards her, and they do this thing where they do a close up of the shark's face, like taking up the whole screen. It looks like it's got a big smile on it, and we were just laughing our asses off. But it edges towards her, and she holds her hand out, and so she's supposedly touching the shark's nose, but the CG was so bad that like the shark's nose is all blurry, and I'm looking at it like that looks so fake. Then the shark like turns around to swim away from her, but one of its fins goes through her. Like they just didn't bother with the CG. Like they didn't try to, turn the shark so the fin moved away. It just goes through her, And at that point, I'm just like, okay, yep, that's the kind of movie we're watching right now.
So that is available to buy at JB.
It's available, but it's also available to rent on
No,
Amazon
but I
and
just
stuff.
meant
But
for all the things
oh
that
yeah,
we can't go and pick up at JB, they get that movie.
that is on the new release shelf right now. Yep. A fresh DVD copy. Yeah, no, I gave this movie a half star because they went to the trouble of making it, I guess. But no, there was not one single redeemable character. Everything we've seen a dozen times before. And then at the end, when the credits are rolling, we then get Richard Dreyfuss well, no, he's not delivering to camera. He's delivering to just off camera because he's reading a thing all about shark conservation and how important it is to not eat shark fin soup and stuff. And he reiterated that like twice in the whole thing about shark fin soup. And that goes for the entire end credits where we get Dreyfus sitting there telling us to do more for the sharks. And it's like, my God, this is the most preachiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, don't ever watch that movie. Anyone listening to this right now, it is so goddamn terrible. So yeah, yeah, that's my public service announcement. A word of warning: into the deep, avoid at all costs. Yeah.
Well, I will finish off this. Is that your last one?
Oh no, I've got one more, but yeah,
Okay.
please.
Well, I'm not finishing off the section, but I am bringing things back up.
Yep.
I will just lump these together. I watched two old films in the last 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and they were both very good. The first one, I was watching Serial at Midnight, and it was a what was it, a podcast? I think it was a podcast episode, but
Hmm.
Heath puts them up on YouTube as well as the podcast. And he talked about Winchester 73, which
Oh yeah.
I think just had a Criterion 4K release.
Hmm.
And I had never seen it, didn't I don't know if I've ever heard of it. So I decided to watch it, and it was really good.
Hmm.
It was pretty funny. I said I've only seen two other westerns from the 50s, and
Okay.
one I did really like. Oh
Hmm.
no, I've seen three other ones, and two of them I wasn't really into, and they're really famous ones.
Right.
Rio Bravo and High Noon. I
Hmm.
just they were fine.
Hmm.
But one I really liked, so I wasn't really expecting too much when I started it, and
Sure.
then I really loved it. So
Cool.
um, it's kind of it's like a was going to say like road trip movie, but the Western in the 50s, well,
Oh,
not in the
nice.
50s because it's set, but
Hmm.
Western times. It's not, there's no cars. So
Yeah. Horse trip,
it's,
a trail
it's,
trip.
yeah. So it's in this town, and there's a gun competition and like a shooting competition, and you can win this Winchester rifle.
Hmm.
And these two guys come into town, and they're looking for someone that they know will be there for that competition.
Hmm.
And then the competition happens, and it's a really cool scene. And then basically the gun gets taken, and you're following the gun as because it kind of changes hands through different people
Oh,
as the
cool.
movie goes along, and they're
Right.
kind of some are connected with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it was really really fun.
Oh, that
So
sounds interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's got uh, James Stewart, Shelley Winters, and other people who I think are well known, but not to me because I haven't seen that many movies
Yeah,
from then.
right.
Um, and Rock Hudson in it back before he was really famous, and
Okay.
um, playing a Native American. So
Ooh,
because
controversy.
they did that back then, and
Yeah.
So yes, I and also it's streaming on Binge here,
Hmm.
and I don't know if they got a copy of this restored version or what, but it was very crisp and very pretty. So
Nice.
because I watched a trailer online first just to get an idea of it, and
Hmm.
it looked like a recorded off TV from
Oh, okay.
onto like video
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
right.
uploaded. So it looked
Yeah,
really terrible. And so
yeah.
then when I started playing it and it looked perfect,
Nice.
it was really cool. So
Okay.
yes, I recommend that. And
Yeah, no, that
then,
does sound interesting.
yeah, then I watched a Radiance film. I
Hmm.
decided to finish off the box set of Italian comedies
Yep.
um, that were all by Dino Risi. And
Hmm.
the third one was Il Sorpasso, which
Mm.
the English title is The Easy Life, but the Italian title translates to the overtaking or something like that, which is partly literal because it's a road trip movie and there's lots of them overtaking cars.
Ah, okay.
But
You and your
also
road trip
has a bit of a
movies.
meaning. Yeah, it
Yeah,
worked out
wow.
that way. So this is like a chance meeting of this guy. Like it's taking place on a holiday. I can't remember what it's, oh, the Assumption or something. And so all of Rome is closed, and this guy's driving around trying to find somewhere open to call someone.
Hmm.
And he pulls over to have a drink from a water fountain and sees a guy in the window and asks to use his phone. And then through that, they end up driving together because he's like, hey, come on, I'll buy you a drink. And the other guy is a student who's, wanting to study because he's behind and he's got exams soon. And
Hmm.
so it's basically this kind of very over the top, out there, super confident guy, and then
Hmm.
the shy student guy.
Hmm.
And then the movie obviously goes further than just going for a drink or food, and it just keeps going, and it's really cool, and it becomes just sort of a meeting characters and going along the way to near the end. It actually gets more into the characters because
Hmm.
you meet the guy's family and stuff, or you meet both their relatives,
Right,
one
right.
one more. Yeah, anyway, so it's just like a cool, I guess, like Italy back in, this was from 1962, so it's
Hmm.
like, Italy back then.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And it's got Vittorio Gassman in it, who's
Ah, yes,
a
of course.
very well-known Italian actor, and
Yeah.
he is really cool. He's like what makes this movie. So
Hmm.
yes, I highly recommend.
Cool. So look, my final one. Oh man, I strap yourselves in, everybody, because I'm about to talk for about an hour. Uh, so after Kylie and I got done watching, what was it called? Into the Deep. Whoa. I said to her, "All right, look, we need to cleanse the palate here. We need to." It was actually quite late at night, but I was like, "Look, are you awake enough to watch another movie?" She was like, "Yep, let's go." Which is really rare. So I wanted to take every opportunity I could here. And she was under the impression, because I went to put a DVD, and she was under the impression that we were about to watch Battle Royale. Because actually, she thought we were going to watch that when I put Into the Deep on, because I'd been talking about that and how I need to get that watched. And then I surprised her with Into the Deep. Ugh. But anyway. No, I did not put on Battle Royale. I put on Shark Attack 3 Megalodon. Oh, this movie. I oh my God. I could watch this movie every day for an entire year. And you know what? I'm almost tempted to take that challenge up. But so for those who are unaware, I am a really big fan of movies that are described as so bad they're amazing. Whether you want to take that into account, that whole thing with Steve Brzezinski has just like changed my way I look at that now. But look, this movie, so this came out in 2002. I've never seen Shark Attack 1 or 2. You don't need to. This is a completely, standalone film, but it'd be in my top five of, my favorite of those kind of films. This movie is nothing short of phenomenal. It begins with a scene. Well, no, not the actual opening. Like the actual opening is just like a standard shark attack sort of a scene. But we're then greeted by our lead character Ben, played by John Barrowman, who's pretty much the only like sort of big name actor in it. Um, who's going around sort of meeting all these other characters who are in the story, but everyone's laughing at each other. Like this whole opening scene, everyone's just unnecessarily laughing. And it's captivating. It is absolutely mesmerizing watching this scene where everyone is just laughing for no reason. And like even Kylie was just like sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? Look, I'm actually I'll read my review here because I think this pretty much sums it up. So I said, some people claim Jaws is the ultimate shark movie. I'm here to set the record straight. Does Jaws have an opening scene where characters just laugh at each other unnecessarily? Does Jaws feature line delivery where actors just pause mid-sentence for no reason? Does Jaws have a shark that fucking growls? Does Jaws feature scenes on boats where the wide shot shows it's moving, but when the actors are shot close up, it's clear the boat isn't moving? No, 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 and no. This film is a goddamn masterpiece. It's the greatest shark movie ever filmed, full of moments that will have you going from disbelief to solid laughs. Don't you dare tell me Jaws is better than this, or I'll take you home and eat your pussy. If you've seen actually, just go to YouTube, type in Shark Attack 3 Megalodon, and there are a number of videos that come up with the greatest line in cinema history, which is that. Yeah, this movie just it's it needs to be seen to be believed. Like a lot of the actors in it are, I don't know, foreigners. I don't know where they're from. There's a range of different accents. And so there's all like people speak really weirdly throughout it. There's some extremely bad dubbing, like some of the worst ADR I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I love this movie with all of my heart, and I was just so happy to watch it again. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on this one.
I will stick with Jaws.
But okay, that last thing that I said about what I'm going to do if you tell me like was just
Oh,
a
yeah,
metaphor. So
no,
yeah,
that's
let's move
just
on. No,
crass.
you gave this movie 3 stars though,
Yeah, I didn't
so
hate
that's
it,
pretty
but
good.
that's nothing on what I gave Jaws.
Yeah, I
So,
know, but I completely forgot that you'd actually seen this film. And then I saw on Letterboxd, I was like, oh my God, you watched it and you gave it 3 stars. That's so cool. Um, yeah, no, there's so much. I remember at the time when I first saw it in about 2008, my flatmate at the time, we watched it together, and oh my God, we quoted this movie for months. Like we watched it that many times that we just knew so many lines off by heart. And yeah, this movie was a really big deal to us at the time. But yeah, no, I absolutely love it. So yeah, I was super happy to watch that again. So there you go. Shark Attack 3, Megalodon, mic drop. Boom. Yeah, that's what I've been watching lately. So that's everything. That was yeah, all right, cool. Um all right, moving on. We have got another edition of a segment that just doesn't really, isn't really that great. It doesn't justify having its own theme music or anything, but um,
wow.
well, I know, but well, mainly because this is kind of like a
This
temporary
is just
segment, isn't it? Like,
unnecessary. What?
actually,
Temporary
how
segment?
far are we going to be going with this one? Because are we going to go all the way back to like 1920 something or? Anyway, what do we got coming up next, Frankie?
Wow, our temporary segment that is apparently maybe something you're not so into
No, I am. I do
is,
really enjoy it. But I just figured we're going to eventually run out of years, aren't we? Maybe?
yeah, but that's a long time away.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, what are we doing? Talk to us.
So reeling in the years is we look at a year, which we're going back 1 year every episode,
Hmm.
and just highlighting movies that are underseen or don't really get talked about that
Hmm.
much, and putting them on your radar in case you've never heard of them.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to poo-poo it. I really do like this segment. I just,
It
when you
didn't
first,
sound like it.
I know, and I didn't mean that. When you first came up with the concept, I kind of thought, oh yeah, we'll do this for a few episodes. And now I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, we're doing this. Like this is a thing. So yeah, I'm still not gonna make theme music for it though. Like, I don't know. It just seems like too much work. All right, so who's gonna start? Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I can start. I'm just looking
Go
up
for
my
it.
movies because a bunch of them I haven't seen for some time.
Oh,
So,
okay. I was going to say, if
um,
you haven't seen them, you probably can't really add them, but
yeah,
yeah,
obviously I have seen them.
yeah.
I'm going to start with Spellbound,
Aha.
which is a Korean film, and I came across this because I watch a lot of K dramas, and I saw Lee Min Ki in one, and then was looking for other stuff that he had done, and
Mhm.
he's in this movie, and I like that the first line in the letterbox synopsis is a magician meets a weird girl and offers her to work together in his magic show. And
Ooh, that sounds
this
good.
is a weird go. Um, and yeah, he starts to get to know her
Hmm.
and develops feelings towards her despite her own problems. And uh, yeah, I won't get into detail. I don't remember a lot, but this is a very cute and very fun film. I don't know
Hmm.
how easy it is to find. I purchased a DVD online, so you can
Right.
find it that way, but I don't know if it would be streaming anywhere.
Hang
But
on. You purchased a DVD so we can what by going to your house and going through your shelves and
no,
finding it.
I mean, if you go look online, you can purchase a copy.
I know, I know. This is where my brain went when you said that. It's like I purchased a DVD, so that's how you can find it. It's like, all right, well, Frankie's address is no.
Yeah.
Cool. No, that sounds good. All right, well, my first one, and look, this is a film that it was quite a big film of the year, but it is one that not many people like. A lot of times when I mention it to people, they haven't seen it. And I'm just looking, as far as like friends on Letterboxd, like only two people have seen it out of the three people that I follow. No,
Wow.
and that is the movie Paul. So, letterbox synopsis: for the last 60 years, a space traveling smartass named Paul has been locked up in a top secret military base advising world leaders about his kind. But when he worries he's outlived his usefulness and the dissection table is drawing uncomfortably close, Paul escapes on the first RV that passes by his compound in Area 51. Fortunately, it contains the two Earthlings who are most likely to rescue and harbor an alien on the run. These two Earthlings are played by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, who are just so freaking amazing together. And they are just the kind of people that, I love to hang out with. They are just absolute sci-fi movie nerds and stuff. You got Seth Rogen, who voices Paul, the alien, who is brilliantly done through CG. Like he, is such a believable character. Jason Bateman is in it as a special agent who's, tracking him down. He's hugely funny. But we got Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader in it as well,
Ooh.
who are massively funny people. Particularly, I love Kristen Wiig's character. Like she's this ultra religious person, and you've got this whole sort of thing where um, they're trying to hide Paul from her. It's actually been a while since I've seen it, but because if she is, aware of proof of aliens, then that is basically going to debunk religion, and stuff. And so there's this whole sort of thing where, when she discovers the alien, like there's a whole thing where she's like, like, okay, well, the Jesus ain't real. I'm gonna live life to the fullest now. And like yeah, love that whole aspect. Jane Lynch is in it as well. Jesse Plemons. There's a person who's in it who I am not gonna read, but there is a massive awesome surprise cameo at the end of this film, which I just loved so much. Um, yeah, it is a supremely entertaining film, that one. I've actually got to watch it again. I do own it on. I got like a super cool Steelbook Blu-ray of it and everything. Yeah, this was a real favorite of mine. So, yeah, if you people out there have been thinking of watching this film, don't hesitate. Get on board. Yeah, highly recommended.
Hmm.
Mic drop.
My next one, oh my God.
What was that?
That was
Oh, there's a
Cooper.
kitty cat. Hello, kid. Oh, wow. Yes. Oh, there's a kitty cat's butthole. All right. Right now, the people who are listening to this are like, thank God we didn't see that. Anyway, yeah.
My next film is one that I discovered because I was looking up an actor who stood out in a few scenes in a TV show,
Right.
and which is how I often find things.
Hmm.
And apparently, it's not streaming anywhere now. I've actually found it digitally to purchase.
Okay.
So I don't know why it's not showing up, and I hope
Hmm.
I still have access to it.
Oh,
So we shall see. But anyway, it's called
controversy.
Sleepless Night,
Hmm.
and it's about a guy who they steal. He's a police officer, and his partner, they steal drugs from a crime lord,
Hmm.
and he's looking for revenge. So he takes his son, and so he's trying to save his son, and it's like
Hmm.
an action movie set over the night as he's
Right.
doing stuff. So yeah, it's just a good time movie.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm reading some reviews, just skimming them, and it seems like a lot of people really liked this. Someone said um, one of the reviews on the DVD cover says, like Die Hard meets 24 by way of Taken, and for once the cover tells the truth.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it's it's a pretty
Mm.
fun movie. I gave it 4 stars.
Right, right. Oh, thank you for the recommendation.
Hmm.
So my next one is a film that I have seen so many times, and it's probably not going to be any surprise because it was the second feature film that was directed by James Gunn, and that is Super, which was also his first sort of comic book kind of film. Um, so yeah, this movie is freaking amazing. You got Rainn Wilson as the lead character, Frank, whose wife, played by Liv Tyler, falls under the influence of a drug dealer played by Kevin Bacon. And so so Frank's just basically sort of, pissed off with the injustices in the world, and he becomes a homemade superhero called the Crimson Bolt. And he's just basically got like a very, cheap, shitty homemade costume. He's got uh, like a wrench or something that he uses as his weapon. Um, and along the way, so we have Elliot Page back when he was Ellen Page, who becomes this girl who, or no, who is this girl who becomes obsessed with him, and then when she finds out his real identity, she wants to become his sidekick. And it sort of goes into really weird, disturbing territory how much she is obsessed with this guy. Um, yeah, like really over the top. But anyway, yeah, there's a whole bunch of other cool people. Greg Henry, Michael Rooker is in it. Linda Cardellini, Nathan Fillion. Yeah, a lot of cool people. It's ultra violent. A lot of people compare this film with Kick-Ass, even though like the two had nothing to do with each other, but they do have a lot of sort of, similar kind of themes and stuff. But yeah, it's a really fun film. Hilariously funny. Um, like I said, ultra violent. And it just has that James Gunn style, like, of silliness to it, Like he's just got such a unique brand. And yeah, it is all over this film. So yeah,
Hmm.
oh my God, I love this film. So yeah, there you go. That one.
Well, I have a film about obsession as well.
Ooh.
This one is not quite so underrated, I guess, for film people, but
Mm-hmm.
perhaps for other people. I only saw this last year or the year
Mm-hmm.
before, I think. It's The Skin I Live In by
Right.
Pedro Almodovar, however,
Mm-hmm.
if that's how you say his name.
Sounds good.
Has Antonio Banderas, and I'll just read the thing. A
Yeah.
brilliant plastic surgeon creates a synthetic skin that withstands any kind of damage. His guinea pig, a mysterious and volatile woman who holds the key to his obsession. And this movie, do not look up anything about it and go in
Okay.
blind,
Right.
because there's a reveal in the movie that just is so good if you don't have it spoiled for you.
Mhm. Okay.
So, yeah, I watched this before a podcast that was had this paired with another movie, and I'm
Mm.
so glad because they spoiled it. They just
Oh.
went right up, and then they went right up till the end, and they're like, "Oh, we won't spoil the end." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Well, why not? Because you just spoiled the like biggest
Yeah, yeah,
thing."
right.
Yeah, I remember watching this and being like completely shocked because it kind of
Wow.
comes out of nowhere and
Mm.
just really, yeah, it just kind of blows your mind
Okay.
that's where it's going. So
Right.
yes, I do highly recommend this film.
Okay, cool. My next one is a film that I have already talked about numerous times on this podcast, but here I am talking about it again. And that is the film Another Earth, which is currently streaming on the aforementioned Disney Plus and Amazon. Or actually, no, you have to buy it on Amazon, so you can watch it on Disney Plus. Or you can be like me. This was one of the movies actually that Buffy Prescott had left in the box of movies, and I had it on my shelf. I'd never heard of it, didn't know what it was about. Um, One night I was just like, yeah, I kind of feel like watching something I've not seen before, and so I picked that one. And oh man, it freaking blew me away. So the letterbox synopsis just says, on the night of the discovery of a duplicate Earth in our solar system, an ambitious young student and an accomplished composer cross paths in a tragic accident. So yeah, so this girl, yeah, she is basically like causes a crash at an intersection. She's because I think she's graduated or something or gotten into a college or something like that. She drinks too much at a party. She drives drunk, crashes into a car, kills this guy's family. Um, and then later on, once she gets out of prison, she decides that she wants to try and make amends. So she goes around to this guy's house. She's working as a cleaner at this point. Um, but when he answers the door, she doesn't know what to say. And so she poses, well, she, says that she's doing door-to-door cleaning, and would he like a trial or something? And so she goes about like cleaning his house. And so the two characters, but there's this whole sort of element where it's like, oh my God, is she going to tell him? Like, and this sort of thing goes on a bit. And it's sort of funny because I know I said that the movie is about the titular Another Earth, but that is just this background thing. That is this thing that kind of just happens on TV screens in news articles and things, and it doesn't really have much relevance to the story until the very end of the film, which is brilliant. But yeah, as I said in my review, what an extraordinary film, a fascinating exploration of overcoming tragedy, guilt, and redemption, and the need for human contact. There were times I felt deeply angered by Rhoda's decisions, the girl, and how much she was tormenting poor John, but the ending proved to be a satisfying conclusion. I've heard some saying the film is slow paced, but I never felt that. There's tension throughout that keeps the story utterly engrossing, and I love that the ending gives the viewer much to contemplate. I only lost half a star because of one scene that didn't feel right between Rhoda and John. If you know, you know. But it was a real triumph. Definitely a film I'll watch again and again. Yeah, there was one decision that the writer or writers made that I was, yeah, it's one of those things that like I want to pretend it never happened. Yeah. Um, so yeah, but no, it is an absolutely amazing film, and yeah, like I said, yeah, it is definitely a film that I will revisit again and again because yeah, and you really need to watch it. I think you'd really enjoy it. So yeah.
I will get to it one day.
Fair enough. That's what I always get from you, lady. One day. Yeah.
I have
Anyway.
a lot of movies on my watch list.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. Anyway, what else you got?
My last one is also not really underrated, but I'm just going to mention it in case anyone doesn't know it because it is such a good movie, and that is Take Shelter.
Ah,
directed by Jeff Nichols, who did The Bike Riders last year, but
right.
also has a bunch of films, and I like them all. But this
Mm-hmm.
is the best one. It has Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain as a married couple,
Mm-hmm.
and he's having apocalyptic visions and is, starting to build a shelter and think about protecting his family, but also worried about, you know, are they really visions or is it mental health issues?
Right.
And it's just sort of following the journey of
Yeah,
what
yeah,
happens.
right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very good.
Yeah, cool. Well, I've got two, but I'll just wrap them up really quickly. One of them is a film that when I was looking through the movies from 2011, I saw this title and I was like, I know that title, and I looked it up, and yeah, it was a movie that I actually really enjoyed. You and I both gave it 3.5 stars, so it wasn't like a masterpiece, but um, it's one that I would like to watch again. And that was 30 Minutes or Less, directed by
Mm.
Ruben Fleischer, who did the Zombieland films. Two fledgling criminals kidnap a pizza delivery guy, strap a bomb to his chest, and advise him that he has mere hours to rob a bank or else. So this one has Jesse Eisenberg, Danny McBride, Michael Pena, Fred Ward, a bunch of cool people. But yeah, so my review, I stumbled upon this movie randomly, really enjoyed every minute of it. Danny McBride's typical line delivery is hilarious as ever. Which, of course, if you've seen Hot Rod, you know what I'm talking about. And I know you've seen Hot Rod.
Yes.
The premise is fun, although based on a true story, quite tragically, and the pacing moves at a cracking speed. The solid cast makes the movie fun, despite the script being rather silly and full of plot holes. But hey, when you're having this much fun, who cares? Yeah, so this is one of those movies that I had to look up afterwards because I was like, hang on, based on a true story. And yeah, it was actually something that happened, which just made it, even more bizarre. But yeah, no, I want to watch that movie again. The other one that I put in from that year was again another movie by Steven Soderbergh, and that was Contagion. Um,
Uh,
which was a movie that had been sitting on my shelf for a really long time, like a good number of years, but I decided to check it out, funnily enough, when the pandemic hit. And
oh,
because, of course, a lot of people had been referring to this film and stuff.
mm,
And so I chucked it on, and oh my God, it's accurate. Now, this film came out in 2011, which was obviously, several years before we actually had this happen. But it was crazy how much this movie predicted things that were going to happen. And it was fascinating because of that. It's got an absolutely cracking cast. I'm not going to go through everyone who's in it, but and it was really fascinating, like the way that the story was put together and everything. Yeah, so yeah, no, I
yeah, I loved movies like that, but I don't know if I'm ready to go back to any of them
right.
now because,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like
it's a
I
bit close to
listened
home.
to the podcast. Uh, oh, I can't
Mhm.
remember what it was called now. And it was all
Oh,
about, they would focus on a different disease each time and talk
oh
about the
wow.
history and things. And it was really fascinating. And I really liked it. And then
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's called like this. No, I don't know. Maybe, hang on, let me just check. But
Okay.
then the pandemic happened, and I'm like, I can't listen to
Mm.
this anymore. And they
Yeah,
did have
yeah.
a lot of, oh, it was called that. It's called This Podcast Will Kill You. And
Brilliant.
because they're grad students that were studying disease ecology. And
Hmm.
so they would look at things and talk to people, and they would, yeah, for all the diseases they would look at, accounts from like first-hand accounts or whatever from the times, because a lot of them of course, were back in the day.
Hmm.
And you'd hear like, things like diphtheria. I
Hmm.
didn't know exactly what happened to you if you had that, and so
Yeah,
they would
right.
talk about what happens to you and then
Hmm.
talk about historical things, like if
Hmm.
it was a widespread thing or whatever.
Yeah, right, right.
Fascinating, loved it. I love all like medical type things.
Hmm.
And then the pandemic happened and I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone back to it, and I can't
Yeah,
do
no,
it.
that's
Yeah.
understandable. Yeah, no, I was really blown away by how much this movie got right. Yeah, it was very well thought out in terms of the script and everything. So yeah, no, a little yeah, fascinating little film that one. So yeah.
Hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, that's our recommendations for 2011. Um, Now this is ordinarily the part of the show where we would continue with our trivia competition that we have ongoing, where Frankie and I are battling it out to get to 130 points, thanks to Nobbin's knowledge. But unfortunately, speaking of diseases, Nobbins is riddled with it at the moment. And yes, speaking of the pandemic, he has COVID right now. So, yeah, poor Nobbins is not available to continue our trivia thing today. Now, for everyone who's about to turn off because you're like, well, I only came here because I love to get into the Dan and Frankie fun and games. We have got you covered because Frankie has come up with a little alternative for today. So what are we getting up to?
Just a stupid game because I thought we might want to fill in some time, although I don't know if we needed to because
Yeah, well, we're going to do
we've
it
talked
anyway
quite a bit.
because shut up.
um, but yeah, this is just a silly fun thing of you have these two movies. Which one would you rather live in?
Hmm. Now, I've got a. So when you say which one would you rather live in? Now, are you? Yeah, so it's the actual movie. So it's like the story that goes on within the film, not just that world, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're in the world, but you're also like what happens in the movie happens,
Yeah.
and
So you're a character in this story, like a
yeah,
yeah.
so not specifically like, you don't have to be a character that exists, but
Yeah.
you are the extra character inserted,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
guess. So
No,
you're
that's
caught
that's
up in
that's
what's
what I
going
thought.
on.
Yeah, because like yeah, you could say a particular movie and it's like, okay, so am I just in that world that all that stuff is happening to the other people? But yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, I do remember now we had this discussion for something way back in the early days because I took it as this and you took
yeah,
it
yeah.
as the actual geography kind of
Yeah.
landscape
That's why
version
I
of
thought I'd
it.
better clarify. So, all right, well, I'm going to go first because you went first last for the last thing. So, I'm going to give you two movies that you can choose which one you want to live in. You have a choice of A Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. Which one would
Well,
you rather
I
live
have
in?
to go Friday the 13th
Yeah.
because I really like sleep. And so the idea of not being able to enjoy sleep and that's where all the bad stuff happens is
Hmm.
too much.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that like obviously a lot of people do fall victim to Jason's weaponry, but oh, when I say Friday the 13th, by the way, yeah, I'm not I am kind of encompassing the franchise in a way, like because Jason's mum just doesn't seem that much of a threat, really. But yeah, I don't know. He sort of seems easier to evade, rather than Freddy, who's like got complete control of you, like when you're asleep. So yeah, that
Yeah.
one was kind of a no-brainer. But anyway, yeah. All right.
All right. My first one, would you rather live in Evil Dead 2
Ooh.
or Jurassic Park?
Ooh, oh, I was almost going to pick Jurassic Park, and that was actually I think that was the thing that sort of triggered in my mind. Like, are we living in that actual specific film, or is it just like Jurassic Park is out there somewhere and I just won't
No,
visit it? So,
Jurassic Park, you're stuck in the park while
so
all the
yeah,
stuff's going down.
that was the thing that yeah, okay.
So yeah, Evil Dead 2, you're in the cabin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, look, I'm going Jurassic Park all the way. Because holy shit, wow. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. Yeah, like dinosaurs, and it's kind of similar to my options for you. Like dinosaurs seem a little bit easier to evade than deadites and becoming possessed and things like that. So, and yeah, Evil Dead's just a lot scarier. So, yeah, no, I'm gonna go Jurassic Park with this one. All right, my next one for you, and this is an interesting one, but we've got a Margot Robbie double feature here. Would you rather live in the world of Barbie, or would you rather live in the world of Birds of Prey? So yeah. Uh,
Birds of Prey,
oh yeah, why is that?
because it's fun. And, if I get to be an extra, in that
Hmm.
group,
Yeah.
then that's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you going with Black Mask's rule
Mm. Although
over the
now that I think
patriarchy.
about it,
Hmm.
being in a Barbie world would make things, it would be an easy life.
Be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I thought this one might be a bit of a thinker. Tick tock,
You
tick
know what?
tock.
Maybe I changed my mind and I'll go to Barbie
You going
land
Barbie
because,
Land?
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. All right. Yeah, I think so too. Like, because yeah, Birds of Prey just like there's a lot of crime and there's a lot of killing and there's a lot of like yeah
yeah. But if you're,
insanity.
yeah,
And it's Gotham. Like Gotham City does not seem like a enjoyable place to live. Um,
sure, I guess before you get to the fun stuff, you've got to have like a crappy life. So,
yeah. I look.
mm.
I reckon. Yeah. Well. But then again, for me, would I pick Barbie Land because as a male, like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that was your choice, so I don't have to
Mm.
decide. So there you go. All right, what do you got for me?
Okay. I've gone a kind of fun one for the next one too.
Cool.
Encino Man
Oh,
or Tremors.
oh, Encino Man. Oh my God, how is that even a choice? My
Well,
God. I, you mean I get to hang out with fun dudes who listen to rad music and play Radmobile all day and like go and hang out with what was her name? Megan Ward. Yeah, come on. Like that is not a choice. That yeah, and then I get to waste the juice, buddy. So yeah, no, that's yeah, Encino Man. Like, yeah, I don't want to get eaten by freaking worms, my God.
well,
Um,
who's gonna say that you're gonna die in Tremors?
Yeah, I know, but those people to me weren't anywhere near as. Although I do get to marvel at Kevin Bacon's hair. No, 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 no. Encino Man, 100%. All right, my final one for you: Dawn of the Dead, 1978, or Dawn of the Dead, 2004.
Well, I don't remember have I seen the original? I
Oh,
don't
I
know if
don't
I've
know.
seen the original. I
Oh,
don't think I have.
look, it's like
No,
essentially
I
it's
haven't.
slow zombies versus fast zombies. That's basically where I'm going with this. Uh, yeah, that was kind of the catch with this one.
Well, that they're both pretty depressing movies.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No, that's okay. My pleasure. Uh, yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna die either way, aren't I?
No,
So,
not necessarily.
well,
You could be the one person who survives.
oh, that's terrible too.
Yeah, I think
Um,
from memory, I think there were some survivors in the 78 version. It's been a very long time since I've seen it, but
well,
um
I mean, all right, let's go 78 then if there's
yeah.
a chance of surviving.
Yeah, look, I would go 78 as well, even though as much as I love the remake, and to me that is one of those remakes that is
Plus,
actually
I do
better than
like 70s style, so I probably got some cool stuff to wear, and everyone
Hmm.
else is wearing cool stuff. So, of
Yeah, yeah. Look, I just think there'd be a better chance of surviving the slow zombies than the fast ones because, yeah, those fast ones, no, they're just horrible. There's no escape from them. So yeah, uh,
all right,
hey,
my last one, I thought of a franchise, and I'm just doing the franchise. I guess you can pick because I couldn't pick a movie, and I
hmm.
struggled to find another franchise, with returning characters that
Right.
following through that will match up. So this
Hmm.
one might be super easy. Harry Potter or Scream?
Really? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are like, well, this is a no-brainer, but as much as I like the Harry Potter films, I'm not like a huge fan. I mean, Scream would, yeah. I know, like a part of my brain is leaning towards Scream because even though there's a chance of getting completely murdered, like
Yeah, there's a
Those
bunch
are,
of returning characters, so
but
it's
those are
not.
cooler people, you know? You got like the video store guy who like, oh my God, I would just love to hang out with Randy. Um, yeah. But okay, here's the question. Being I am of mature age, would I be a teacher or a student at Hogwarts? Like,
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is fantasy world, so I guess you could change your
mm.
age and be a student if you wanted to.
Yeah, a mature age student. I'm like coming
Well,
back. Um, Look, I'm gonna go with Scream. I know this is sounds like an insane choice, but I kind of like the idea of like the murder mystery element, like trying to figure out who done it, and um yeah, plus the plus at least the girls in Scream are of legal age. So yeah. I'm picking Scream. Yeah, why not? There you go. That's my choice. All right. Well, that was fun. And a cool way to waste 5 minutes or however long it was. But I would say in this case, now that we've tackled all that, I reckon it's time we get into our feature film for this time around, which yeah, if you hadn't caught before, this one is going out to Jen, who was a really big fan of my YouTube channel back in the day, and she had asked me to for a very long time, dare I say she nagged me to do a review of this film, and I kept saying yes, I'm going to do it one day because I absolutely love this film, and I never got around to it. So right now we're going to get stuck into this film. This one's going out to Jen, and we are talking about 2000's Battle Royale. All right, so Battle Royale is a Japanese film that came out in the year 2000, and Quentin Tarantino proclaimed it uh, not that long ago as the oh no, sorry, he proclaimed it at the time as the best film that he'd seen in the past 2 decades. And
I knew
um,
that.
sorry,
I knew that
well, there you go.
because you
And
said
yeah,
it before.
you smart ass. And so yeah, this is a film that yeah, you can see how much of an influence it had on him. It's essentially a set in a alternative world where so yeah, in the future, well, in the future, even though it's kind of set like around then, but the Japanese government captures a class of ninth grade students and forces them to kill each other under the Revolutionary Battle Royale Act. And I love so much that it's basically the adults are just fed up with kids who because they're disrespecting them and everything. And so they're like, all right, kids, off you go. Last one standing. I love that idea. That is so freaking cool. Um, so yeah, essentially, yeah, this movie. So you got this class of kids who get sent to a deserted island. Everyone gets given a bag with essentials in it, like food, compass, map, water, and an item. I was going to say a weapon, but no, it might not be a weapon. You might get something like a crossbow or a gun or something cool, or you might get a saucepan lid or a pair of binoculars. It's completely random. So all of these kids get sent, and yeah, they basically got 3 days in order to murder the shit out of each other. If they don't end up completing the task, they are all wearing a collar around their neck that is set to explode if they don't. Um, so yeah, I can't remember when I first saw this film. It would have been sometime in the 2000s, but I've loved this movie ever since then. What are your thoughts on it? Like,
Yeah,
are you a
I
fan?
I saw it pretty early on. I actually, when I went to watch it again, I realized I have a copy of the Arrow Blu-ray, and this was
Nice.
like back in the day when we didn't have Amazon, but online shopping was becoming a thing, and we could order from UK Amazon. So I ordered
Mm,
it from there, and so I didn't know what Arrow was. That's just how I could
right,
get a
right.
copy of it because I guess it wasn't released here at the time or wasn't
Hmm.
easy to find at the time or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
know. But yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it, so it was
Yeah.
nice to watch it again.
So you loved it?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great
Um,
movie.
this was the sort of thing that for me, I'll never forget when I went and saw the first Hunger Games in cinemas. I remember sitting there watching it and just thinking to myself, "Are you kidding me? Like this is just, Battle Royale light." And I never felt compelled to watch any more of the Hunger Games films because of this movie.
Well, no, I refuse to hear hate for Hunger Games.
Oh, I didn't hate it.
Um,
I
yeah,
just thought it was too derivative of this. Like it was, but not as good. I kind of thought, look, if I want to watch a film, about this particular kind of story, like, you know, you got Battle Royale. So,
so
um,
like can't have any exorcism movies because The Exorcist exists, so why watch any other ones?
no, because exorcism movies have different stories. To me, the story of this was too similar, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it.
but I hardly feel like getting kids to kill each other and the last one standing wins is like, you know,
Hmm.
some groundbreaking thing that no one else can ever touch again. I mean, that's like time loop movies. Why do them? Because you got Groundhog Day. So
But again, time loop movies you have all
anyway,
different
whatever.
stories
Hunger
and
Games are
stuff.
good
So
movies, and I
no,
don't
no, no,
feel
that's
like
I'm not
you
knocking.
shouldn't watch it because you can watch Battle Royale.
This
Like
was just personally for
they're
me.
kind
I
of
Yeah.
different settings and different other things going on.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that really has always stood out to me about this film ever since the day I watched it, it's, I mean, this is a really dark film. Like it is, almost disturbingly dark. The fact that like that scene where Kitano, the teacher, played by the amazing Takeshi Kitano, who has been in a ton of films, um, yeah, including like, hang on, let me just have a look. Like, what are some of the other ones well, the Zatoichi he was in Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves. But yeah, this dude has done so many films. Like he is a really established actor. Um I love, when he's kind of explaining to the kids and just in a very sort of angry, fed up way, like, this is what's going to happen to you. I love how you get that video playing with the really perky, bright, bubbly Japanese woman who,
Mm.
is
I
just,
love her.
oh, so cutesy, and
Mm.
everything. And but then, things happen in that room, where like, you're really sort of made aware that things are real, like people are about to get killed and people have to turn on each other. And like, it is really dark. And I love that. But then you got the cutesy, video. But then, when the video finishes and, the students' names are being read out one by one, and the woman in the video, suddenly turns really serious, and stuff. And it's sort of like, wow, it's kind of chilling in a way to me, and yeah, then when the kids are all sort of let loose on the island, of course, they're kids, they're high school teenagers, and so they have crushes on each other and they have their cliques and groups and stuff. But you're still kind of thinking to yourself, like, my God, you guys have to kill each other, and they don't seem to be fully aware of it on day one. They're all like, oh, we'll team together and figure out a way through this thing. No, you won't, because you're gonna get your necks blown up. And so I just love the way that they're still kids, that they still have all that kind of teenage element, and it's funny at times. Like, did you laugh at times
Oh
through this
yeah,
film? Like,
definitely.
yeah, yeah. And I just thought it was just such a brilliant mix of humor and edginess. It's not the kind of humor that you're sort of like, oh, that's just silly or whatever. Yeah. So no, I thought it was an extraordinary film. What were some of your favorite parts of it?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I just like it's just all go. I mean,
Mm,
yes, it does that thing of inserting flashbacks so that you can know how some people know each other.
yeah.
But generally, the whole thing is just the action of the movie, and like there's no
Mm.
real setup at the beginning. It's just straight
Mm.
into they're going on a class trip and they think it's going to be a fun time, and
And how
and then
disturbing is that shot though of the bus, like, where someone sort of wakes up and like everyone's asleep and it's sort of like I thought that was so eerie, but particularly if you know why they're asleep. I mean, I guess we can say because it's at the start of the film, right?
yeah, it
Like,
was the
yeah.
setup.
Yeah, so basically they've gashed everyone to sleep like on the bus, and so this one dude wakes up and yeah, I guess it's a teacher or something, like comes up in a gas mask and knocks him out. But yeah, like straight away that was really eerie looking. And yeah, as you said, like it doesn't waste time. Like as soon as the kids get sent out, like there's that shot of that girl approaching someone and you know yeah, with a freaking arrow through her neck, and it's sort of like, holy shit, we're starting already. Wow, okay. Um, I absolutely loved. Oh, I meant to hang on. I meant to yeah, there it is. I meant to make a note of this dude's name, but I'm not good at remembering Japanese names. Kiriyama, that dude's
Mm.
hair. I mean, oh my freaking God. Played by the incomparable Masanobu Ando. So yeah, you got these two random dudes who are in there. I won't say why, like maybe that might be sort of spoiler
Yeah,
territory.
two transfer students.
Yeah, yeah. Who are in plain clothes and stuff. But yeah,
Well, they're not in
Kiriyama.
plain clothes. They've still got the uniform
Oh, did they?
things.
Oh, okay. Kiriyama's hair, like as soon as you see this dude, like there's so many Japanese people that just have amazing hair. They've just got that
Mm.
dry, stringy kind of hair that
Oh,
I'm
that's
envious of. Hey, but no, I mean,
this
but
doesn't sound very
it doesn't sound no,
complimentary.
but when it's that way, you can do like amazing
Yeah, you
styles
just
with
mean
it.
they've got good hair texture. Dry and
Yeah, hair
stringy
texture.
are not complimentary
Yeah, okay,
terms when you're talking
that's
about hair.
yeah, all right, look, shut up. But yeah, this dude just reminded me of kind of like a Japanese Joker. I mean, he was kind of freaking insane, like he was just
I
straight up
think those
murdering people.
two were actually like the best characters. They were my
Oh
two favorite
yeah.
characters of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like all the students.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Mm.
Yeah, the movie wouldn't have been anywhere near as much fun or near as cool if it hadn't been for those two. So Kiriyama and Kawada. Um, yeah, I like the inclusion of Chiaki Kuriyama, who was in Kill Bill Volume 1 as Gogo Yubari. I just thought, yeah, she was really. There's just something about her that I just always love. Like, no matter what she's in, she just looks so freaking cool. And it actually made me realize that Kylie has not seen Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. So
Oh
I
wow.
I know I was kind of the same. I was like, what? But then I was like, oh my God, I actually get to show her these movies for the first time. So I'm gonna have to get those on soon because yeah, those are essential viewing. But yeah, all the characters were just so cool in this film.
Yeah, there was that other girl who uh
I don't know if
Mitsuko?
it's the
The
one.
one that was just like the mean girl
Yeah, yeah, I know the
going
exactly
after
the one
everyone.
you're talking
Yeah.
about, the one who changed her clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, put
yeah,
on casual clothes. She was
I
cool.
cannot remember what
I think she was
her.
Mitsuko.
Ah, yes, she was Mitsuko, played by the amazing Ko Shibasaki. Yeah, she was really cool. She just had such a great look about her.
Oh, I've seen three movies she's been in. Oh,
Okay,
she
cool.
was also in One Missed Call.
Was she? Let me have a look. Oh, she was too. I
Uh,
don't remember her. And actually, looking at her picture on Letterboxd, she doesn't even look like the same person that was in Battle Royale, but it was. Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, she was, but yeah, all the characters were really well written. I like that, you actually really felt for these people. Um, because of their teenageness, because they did have that kind of innocence about them, but were put into this situation. And you kind of think, well, clearly not all of them were assholes to their elders. And so it's kind of, it adds to their sympathy being that,
There was that one kid that, you know, almost wasn't there,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but then decided to come on the class trip after
I
all. And
know.
on the bus, he's like, I'm so glad I decided to come. And you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
you won't be.
Dude, yeah, you chose poorly. But no, you sort of feel for a lot of them, like, obviously, a few rotten apples spoiled the whole bunch kind of thing. But yeah, I just love that concept. It's so wild, that yeah, adults are just sick of kids and so who knows if this movie has any sort of prophecy element to it, and one day we may actually get the Battle Royale act.
Well, I mean, if you watch a lot of Japanese shows and things,
Hmm.
they do have a lot of things about how terrible school students are. And
Right,
they have
right.
like a whole series based on like, this is the school where all the bad kids go and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, right, right.
So yeah, it is
Yeah.
seems to be a common theme and stuff. So I don't know how
Okay.
what the school life experience is like there and
Yeah,
how
yeah.
many there are. It's like watching American talk shows and
Mm,
movies and stuff when I was a kid. And I was like, everyone has bullying at school, but you watch these American things and they're doing like super terrible things and like really
mm.
violent things. And I'm like, oh, well, at least, you know, there generally wasn't anything that terrible going on at my school that
Oh
people were
yeah.
getting just fully beat up every day and stuff, at least not
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
school.
absolutely. The only thing, so for me, I gave this 4.5 stars because, and we'll talk about this later in the spoiler section. I kind of have mixed feelings about the ending. I didn't
Mm.
dislike the ending, um, but for me, I just kind of felt it lost a bit of steam. Like, this movie is just so full on all the way through, and then when the ending happens, it was kind of like, ah, yeah, okay. Like, I mean, I don't know how I would have written it any differently. Like, it probably is the most perfect ending that this film could have. Hello, Cooper. Um, but yeah, I yeah, just kind of felt like it just lost a little bit of steam there. But we'll talk about that in the spoiler section. But no, look, this is easily up there with like amongst my most favorite Japanese movies. I'm counting all horror film, every Japanese movie. Like, I just adore this film so much. I actually even last night because I had it on DVD or have it on DVD and I was watching it and I even said to Kylie, like, this is a movie that is going to require an upgrade. And so I actually found the Arrow Blu-ray with like the reversible cover and everything on eBay for 28 bucks, I think it was. So yeah, I pounced on that because yeah, this is easily a movie that deserves the highest quality. So yeah, I'm noticing it doesn't appear to be streaming anywhere. So yeah.
It's on Mubi if
Oh, it's on
anyone
movie?
has
Oh,
that.
okay. It
Yeah,
hasn't come up on my letterbox. Oh, well,
because you have to set it as your.
yeah, but I thought I did.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I'm
do
a
you
little
have
surprised.
Mubi?
I do have. Oh, maybe I don't. I
You
got
have to
Tubi,
pay. You have to
Tubi
pay
and
for
movie.
Mubi.
Oh no, maybe I don't then. Which is why it hasn't come up. So there you go. It is streaming on Mubi. Or you can buy the Blu-ray on eBay, where they have plenty of copies for sale. So yeah, there you go, Jen. That was finally my thoughts on Battle Royale, along with Frankie's thoughts as well. No, she's over here. Along with Frankie's thoughts as well. So you get two for one. So there you go. That one's going out to you. Cool. No, I was just really happy to have an excuse to watch that movie again because yeah, I kind of realized that it must have been maybe about I don't know, like 15 years since the last time I saw that film. So yeah, I was very happy
Have you
to
seen the sequel?
I have not seen the sequel. No,
Hmm.
I know of it, and I did a lot of research on it last night, and it actually doesn't really sound like it's a very good film. So, I don't know. I might check it out at some point, but yeah, I'm not sort of rushing out of my way to see it. But anyway, all right. What movie are we gonna talk about next? Because we got my movie, we got your movie. Which one are we doing? Hello.
I'm just reading the synopsis for the
Oh,
sequel.
okay. Because I've
Should
run
we
out of.
do the Vigil first?
We shall do the Vigil first. So yes, let's get into the Vigil from 2019, which is the movie that I chose from your list of thingies. So tell us about the Vigil.
Well, actually, it'd been ages since I'd seen it, so I didn't remember the details, but I remember really liking it when I first watched it. And
Hmm.
yeah, so this is also it's about the Orthodox Jewish community, and I do like movies that kind of show you a culture or religion or
Mm.
something that you don't know about, and
That's
so
exactly
it's
what we said. Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to see, sort of a brief look at how they do things
Mm.
and what you can pick out from what's in the movie. And so
Absolutely.
this guy has left the Orthodox community and is trying to get used to sort of life outside. It has like a support group, and he's trying to, get a job and get he's set up in his apartment and figuring out how to pay rent. And then a guy that he used to know from the Orthodox community is like, hey, I know you need money. Can you come and do this vigil? Because the person we had left because he was afraid.
Mm.
And so he goes to this house, and yeah, so that's a Jewish thing where they have someone sit with the body of the deceased
Hmm.
um, overnight. I don't know if there's a set time, I can't remember,
Mm.
and read the Psalms and
I
stuff
think
so
it's
that,
overnight.
yeah, so that the
Yeah.
spirit doesn't, protect the spirit from evil so that
Mm.
they, rest peacefully on their journey or whatever. So
Hmm.
the wife of the deceased has Alzheimer's, and so they have an extra person, and I think you have to be a special, well, not a special person, but it's not, I
Mm.
think it's just not anyone, is it? Which is why, or I don't know if it's that or because she was, a bit unwell
Mm.
and grieving that they don't, I guess they always would get an outside person rather than someone closely related to the deceased person, because that would be a bit hard
Yeah.
to do. But yeah, anyway, I didn't need to say all that. But yeah, so he goes to this house, and then creepy things start happening while
Mm.
he's there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I was excited to see this because I saw you had given it 4.5 stars and yeah, like
Ah, I didn't realize I rated it
oh
that
yeah,
highly last
this
time.
is the best movie
Oh,
you've ever
I would
seen.
probably bring it down a little bit this time.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I did. And yeah, again, like there was that whole cultural aspect of a, sort of thing that we don't sort of see too much of, I guess. But that's probably by choice. There's probably a million movies out there that explore the Jewish culture, but
Well, it's more
yeah.
the Orthodox culture.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, that was all very interesting, but yeah, no, the movie it definitely had a lot of like intensely creepy moments. Um yeah, there were some genuine moments, but like I think because not long before that, like we saw things like Oddity, which just basically had us absolutely curled up in the bed, just like, peeking through our fingers, going, holy shit. And like, I didn't quite think this movie for me anyway, really sort of reached those levels.
Oh, well,
Uh
Oddity is kind of top shelf level of
yeah,
scary
yeah.
stuff. So a lot of, like, most movies would fall short if you compare it to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I
But
think so anyway, because that movie creeped me out than most any other movie I've seen.
oh God, did it ever? Um, but yeah, no, I thought this was interesting. Yeah, as a sort of movie, I guess it sort of fell in that bracket of like I don't know if I would own it, but like if I had to watch it again, I'd be happy to. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't really sort of have a lot to say about the film.
I did
Yeah.
like the supernatural aspect, and where, like, the history of it and everything. I did quite like
Mm,
the background info we got about it, and about
mm.
the why it was there in that house and everything. So that was quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. And there were definitely, I mean, there was a lot of standout visual elements as well, like when he's sort of going through that hallway and like the walls, were just sort of like
Mm.
was it yeah, was people pressing out or something?
Yeah,
Like
something like that. I'm just not
yeah.
sure exactly.
So there was a lot of things and
There's a good
Yeah.
atmosphere too. Like, he'll be in a room with lamps on and
Mm,
the camera's looking at him, but behind him to the side, you're looking into a dark room. And
yeah.
I don't know about you, but I was sort of looking and be like, is there going to be something to
Oh
see
yeah.
in the
Oh
background?
yeah. 100%. There was several moments where that sort of stuff happened. Yeah. So yeah, look, I like I said, I liked it. I didn't quite love it, but yeah, no, I'd definitely recommend it to people. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Did
don't
you
really have a
say
lot to
that?
say.
Because I know the way you're saying everything makes it sound like you didn't like it so much.
No, I did. I did. I just there's just not a huge amount that I had to say
I know,
about
I
it.
get what you're saying, but just the
Yeah.
way you're saying it.
Oh, I didn't mean. No, no, definitely. Yes, absolutely. People check it out. It's streaming on Amazon, where you'll probably get an ad break in it somewhere. But actually, did we watch it on Amazon? I think we did, and we didn't get an ad break. Controversy.
I thought that
Yeah.
was the one that you told me you got an ad break.
No, that was not the one. Civil War was the one that I got an ad break.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, maybe because this is an older movie.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, did you have anything else that you wanted to say about the
No,
vigil?
I think
No,
that's it.
that's it. All right. So in that case, we will now move on to one of those films that in 2004, when it came out, I didn't actually think it was going to be that great. Like the trailer just kind of made it look like a bit of a ho-hum sort of comedy, but oh man, in time, I've just grown to love this movie, and that is Eurotrip. So yeah, when Scott learns that his longtime cyber buddy from Berlin is a gorgeous young woman, he and his friends embark on a trip across Europe. There you go. That is pretty much all you need to know about the film. Um, but this is a film that for me, it is such a comfort movie. I can watch this movie so many times and still cry from laughing in it. This is to me one of the funniest movies ever. Um,
Wow.
it really is. Like, yeah. And mainly because so much of the humor is just so fucking random. I mean, so many things happen in this movie that obviously they're just there just to give you a lot. They don't have any relevance to the story or anything. They're just there for visual gags. And I'm talking about things like, of course, when Scott turns up to the home of Mika, aka Mike, and she's not home, and so the dad brings him in to sit down for a chat, and her little brother is off to the side drawing with crayons, and so he says hi to him, and then for absolutely no reason, the kid gets a black crayon and draws a Hitler mustache on himself and proceeds to start goose stepping and Sieg Heiling around the living room. And
No reason except they're Germans.
well, yeah, exactly. And the dad is just completely oblivious to it. Scott's, of course, sitting there like, what the hell? Like, are you serious? And I don't even know what the dad says in that scene because I'm just, that scene gets me every single time. But that's just one moment. There are so many moments like that that happen throughout the film. So, yeah, so obviously this was your first time watching this film. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I thought it was fun. I definitely didn't think it was one
Yeah.
of the funniest movies ever.
Oh yeah, that's a taste thing. That is absolutely a taste thing. I wouldn't expect too many people would hold it in that high a regard, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes are a certain kind of humor that's not so much for me. Um,
Right, right.
yeah, and it
Mhm.
it's very loose story. It's basically like the one line description of it is the plot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was just a bit more random than I thought it might be. I don't know. In my
Mm.
head, I kind of compare it to Road Trip because they're almost the same title.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit scared to watch Road Trip now because I'm like, am I going to love it as much as I did back then? Is the
Okay.
humor still going to work for me as well?
Right, right.
I don't know how similar it is to this movie because I haven't
Mm.
seen it for a long time, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, I hope it will be. okay. I just feel like that
Hmm.
one just seemed a bit more of a cohesive story. I don't know if it's just because they were more of a group going together, whereas this has
Hmm.
a lot of people separated
Yeah,
doing
right.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was pretty fun. The characters are pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
liked that the guy, the brother, I don't remember their names. The brother, it was the
Jamie?
brother and the twins, is it? The
Yeah.
brother and sister. Um,
Jamie and Jenny.
yeah, he was pretty cool because it's just a character type you don't often like. I expected him to just be a nerd type, but
Mm.
they kind of went a bit different with that.
Mm.
So I don't know. But then there were moments that I was like, so
Mm.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was interesting and a little bit different. And
My
the main guy, the not the main guy, the friend of the main guy,
Cooper.
um, had cool hair, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
He was my goddamn favorite character,
Mm.
Cooper, played by Jacob Pitts, because I love his extremely dry joke delivery, just the way that, yeah, the way that he says everything, is like he would be that sort of person in real life. It's like, hang on, are you kidding or are you serious right now? Um, I love that whole sort of subplot where, he's blown off work to go to Europe with his
Mm.
friends, but he keeps getting work calls, and his boss thinks that he's there at the office or whatever. And he's like,
Yeah.
plays that through it. And again, that is one of those things that it's like, it's just this stupid little recurring joke that has no relevance on the story or the plot, but it's there for laughs. There were so many great smaller roles in it. I love Vinnie Jones as the leader of the soccer hooligan group. Lucy Lawless as the brothel madam. Like, I thought she was great. Even, you had like uh because I noticed Diedrich Bader, his name was in the
Yeah.
opening credits, and I'm like, who was he in this film? Because, of course, he's been in a ton of great films. He's the voice of Batman Bruce Wayne in the current Harley Quinn series. Like, he's a pretty big name. And then he just turns up for a moment as a mugger, like in a
Mm.
brief scene that, sort of, yeah. So that was kind of weird. But of course, there's one cameo
Yeah.
that made you gave this movie an extra half star, and I think we can talk about it. It's I mean, or should we talk about it or leave it for the spoiling? Because it is a cool surprise for people who haven't seen it.
Yeah, or
Uh,
who don't look at it like I did and see the cast list.
yeah, yeah. Oh
So I
gosh, should
knew
we
that it was gonna,
should we talk about it here?
I don't know.
Oh, let's do it. So yeah, of course, Matt Damon is in this film. There's a scene at the start of the movie where Scott, played by Scott I don't know, Mecha Godzilla. His girlfriend Fiona, played by Kristen Krick from Smallville. She basically doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore, and it turns out that she is a massive cheating whore. Um, and so they're at a party and there's a punk band on stage playing a song called Scotty Doesn't Know, which is at the time, it was such a big song. It's actually, you can find it on Spotify. It is there. And
It's
yeah,
very
basically,
catchy.
it's a great song, all about how Scott has no idea that his girlfriend's cheating on him. But of course, Matt Damon is the lead singer of this band, and you can barely recognize him at first because he's got, like, bald head, tattoos, piercings, the whole lot. And Fiona's on stage, grinding away with him and all this sort of stuff. And, Scott's just like, wow, really? But I love, again, that was a recurring joke throughout the film. That song just keeps coming up in various ways on people's ringtones, or when they go to a club in Europe and there's like a techno version of it playing. I mean, shit like that is so funny. So yeah, I loved Matt Damon's cameo in this. That was so freaking
I
funny.
do love that he is always up for doing things like that in
Yeah.
movies. And even though, he's like a big star now, but he's still like, yeah, I just want to go do this fun random thing.
Oh
And like
yeah.
him and Ben Affleck turning up in Kevin Smith's movies and all that stuff.
Mm.
It's always so fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, look, this was the sort of movie that when I went to rate it on Letterboxd again, I noticed that I had previously given it 4.5 stars, and watching it again the other night, I'm like, why? What didn't I like about this movie? And like, look, honestly, there was nothing. I've given it 5. I've gone up with my rating. To me, this is just one of the most perfect comedies. Um, and just so many standout things like, the whole Miss Guzzi thing, on the train, with that dude whose name I can't remember. He's like a Saturday Night Live standout, Fred Armisen, that's his name, who, yeah, this guy who at the time I didn't think I'd seen him in anything, and I actually thought, is he like this creepy Italian weirdo? But no, it turns out he's a Saturday Night Live actor, and he is in so many movies, and a really funny guy. Um, so yeah, from him to everyone who was in this film, it is just such a great all-around comedy, and yeah, I absolutely love it. So there you go.
And a very cool opening song, the
Oh
cover of
yeah,
My
yeah,
Generation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was Ça plane pour moi, wasn't it? By Plastic Bertrand. Was that the one? Oh no, 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 no. That song was used later on in the film.
Yeah, this was a cover of My Generation.
Which you just said. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. Yeah. But no, the way that was done, and everything, like the whole opening credits scene was so cool. Like, yeah, like I said, I just can't fault the film personally. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, I do get though that the jokes aren't going to be for everybody. So that's cool. All right. So that's what we that was our feature films. So we've got something rather special lined up for the next time round, haven't we? We've got our first Dan and Frankie double feature.
Yeah, well, I was thinking of what could be a main film, and then I thought it, there's two films that are kind of the same but
Hmm.
different. And so I thought it would be really fun to watch both of them together. And they're
Yep.
both short, so
Hmm.
it's not going to take up too much time.
Hmm.
And so we are going to be watching The Evil Dead
Yep.
and Evil Dead 2.
Woohoo! Yeah, oh man, this is one of these things I'm like, do I even need to rewatch them? Because I could already talk about them like so freaking much. But no, I will be very happy to have another viewing of those films, because let's face it, they're two of the greatest horror movies ever made. Um, but we're yeah, so Evil Dead 1 and sorry, The Evil Dead 1 and 2. But we're also playing a little bit of catch up right now, because being that we've had our summer break and we did our holiday specials and we did our awards thing, we kind of lost track a little bit of who we are at this show, and we completely forgot that we were supposed to do a a without consent, where we force a movie upon each other. So that was meant to be the last episode. So yeah, we're going to be doing that this episode. And
And we're
I've
skipping our actor director feature, so I guess we'll just have to wait till the next number comes around.
Yeah, yeah, but no, it's definitely gonna be fun doing a without consent, because
Yeah, I thought of doing that because I just thought of a movie that it came into my head because of the thing I saw online recently, and then I just
right.
thought it was a good fit for the Evil Dead movies.
Right, right. Well, I had a movie as well that I thought to myself, it was actually a movie a few days ago. I thought about it and I noticed that I think you had it on your watch list. And I was like, oh, I really want you to see that film. But as we've been doing this podcast, I've actually thought of a completely different one that is one that I'm gonna force upon you. But we'll get
Oh,
to
it's
that.
going to be something terrible, isn't it? I can tell
Well,
by the look on your face.
maybe. I don't know. You might actually absolutely love this film. I don't know, but
Oh,
what have you got for me? We'll get to mine.
well, I have picked one of is quite a well-known horror franchise. So this
Ooh.
is the first movie in that franchise.
Mm.
And from 1979, it is Phantasm.
Oh, okay. Right, right, right. That is actually a movie that has been on my radar for
Yeah, it's one that I'm kind of surprised that you haven't seen it already.
yeah, yeah. No, that is a movie that yeah, I've been meaning to get onto, so I don't have a choice now. It is time to watch it. My pick for you, my dear, is a movie that oh God, I've seen this movie so many times I can quote the lines of dialogue, throughout the film, like as it happens. Um, this is a movie. Oh, you've got it on your watch list. So there
Okay.
you go. You are going to be watching a movie from 1976 called Blood-Sucking Freaks, which is one of those movies that is just it's a trauma film. And it is so freaking weird that I genuinely don't know which way you're going to go with this one. Not it's not one of those movies that you would, put into the so bad it's good category. It is actually competently made. It's just really weird. Um, yeah, it's a story about a guy who runs this, sort of a theater of the macabre where they actually torture and murder people on stage in front of the audience, but people think it's actually all trickery or whatever. But things are going on behind the scenes of this show, and you got this reporter who hires a detective to, probe into what's going on and all this sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of see from the letterboxed reviews, it is
It's
a
very mixed.
really mixed bag. Yeah. But no, this is a film that like I goddamn love the weirdness of this film. So
Well, it seems
yeah.
like we have a pretty good kind of themed episode next week.
Don't
Like
we? I
all these
know.
movies seem like a good mix with each
They
other.
do, they do. Look, I'll actually admit, like the film that I was going to give you was a film called The Sacrament, which was a um kind of a slightly fictitious story, retelling of the Jonestown massacre, that I think you had on your watch list as well. But
Oh,
yeah,
directed by,
Ty West.
yeah, that has
Yeah.
very mixed reviews as well.
Oh, I love that film so freaking much. I got thinking about it the other day. I saw something about the Jonestown Massacre and I was like, "Oh, have you seen it?" And I went and looked it up. I was like, "Oh, you haven't seen it. Okay, gonna make you pick that." But then something clicked in my mind earlier and I was like, "Oh, this is a chance to make you watch Bloodsucking Freaks." So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a better fit for
I do too.
what we've
Yeah.
got now for that
Now that we've
episode.
sort of gone on with these other films, I think yeah, this is definitely so yeah, so stay
And
tuned.
you
Mm.
stuck with the theme that we were going to abandon because you had your other movie, but all our
Yeah.
movies are under 90 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was purely by accident, but yeah, no, this is
Yeah,
a,
same.
a
When I was
short
looking at
film.
Phantasm and then I remembered that we were going to do that, but then I looked
Yeah.
and went, oh, it's 89 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops.
Yeah, no, Freaks is 85, so yeah, no,
Mm.
actually, oh man, this is gonna be so much fun if Kylie wants to watch this movie with me because this is definitely a film that she is gonna sit there just going, what the absolute F is going on here? Yeah, so no, I'll be very interested to see what you think of this one, but yeah, so yeah, coming up on the next episode, The Evil Dead 1 and 2, Phantasm and Blood-Sucking Freaks. We're basically, yeah, we're going all horror for this one. So um yeah, stay tuned for that one. And that's pretty much everything that we got for now before we go into Spoilersville. So yes, if you guys don't want to hear spoilers about the three main films that we discussed, this is where we love you and leave you. Yeah, thanks again to everyone who's been recently subscribing to the YouTube channel. Yeah, hope you're having fun with the regular content and not just the award stuff. But yeah, until in a fortnight, stay safe, watch lots of movies. Bye for now. For everyone else who wants to hear some spoilers, let's go. Okie dokie. So yeah, Battle Royale. Okay, let's get that one out of the way first. So the ending of the film, yeah, like I said, I don't know how I would have done it differently, but essentially you've got the dude who was one of the well, yeah, so Kawada. So it turns out that he was a survivor of a previous one and he's kind of come back. So I mean, was it kind of for revenge, I guess? Like was that sort of his angle?
Well,
Do
he
you
said
think?
he wanted to understand what happened last time and the way
Hmm.
and how it went down and the way she smiled at the end.
Yeah, so his lover was one of the they were the last two in the previous one, and of course, the like it came down to literally the 0 hour, and like their collars were starting to beep, and they gunned each other down, and he survived, and yeah, in his arms, she looks up at him and says thank you and smiles before she passes away, and so yeah, he had this really interesting sort of backstory bringing into it and stuff. So you get the impression that he has killed the last remaining couple of students. Then he turns up to the Battle Royale compound, I guess, where the teacher is there and brings him in. And then, yeah, it's revealed that he had disabled the collars because they've got microphones built into them as well. And so he staged the murder of the other two. And so they come back and yeah, there's this whole sort of thing where Kitano, the teacher, he, talks about how his daughter was kind of estranged from him or something, like they didn't have a good relationship, and he would have given Noriko like, she was his favorite kind of thing. So he was almost like, a father figure to her, I'm guessing. But then, yeah, they gun him down. They take Kawada away on a boat where he passes away, and then the last two, they sort of become fugitives to the government. And yeah, so what were your thoughts on the ending?
It feels like a very happy ending for everything that came beforehand, as far as
hmm,
the couple both surviving in the end. It's very
yeah,
sad because Kawada died, and I figured he was going to, but I didn't want him to.
hmm.
So, yeah, and it was weird with the teacher and the way he gets up after he's shot to answer the phone.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know, how else I would have
Mm.
done the ending. I mean, it is kind of interesting, that so okay, it was Nanahara and Noriko. Yeah, that they sort of became fugitives or whatever.
Because they
But
actually were some of the least interesting characters.
yeah, yeah. But I guess maybe I sort of wanted a little bit more weight to why, to them becoming these fugitives. And maybe that's addressed in the sequel. I don't know because I haven't seen the sequel, but yeah, I don't know. It just kind of lost a little steam for me by the
Mm.
end. So yeah. But yeah, look, other than that, like, I mean, there was so many freaking great death scenes throughout the film.
The
And
lighthouse stuff was fun.
yeah, 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 it really was. Yeah, but no, that was pretty much the main sort of spoilers that I had as far as the ending goes. Yeah, did you have anything else spoilery?
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, fair enough. The Vigil, do we have spoilers for that? I actually there was one of the standout things that stuck in my memory, of course, was um sort of towards the end, like after he, burns his face off in that hallway and everything, and when he comes down and the body is like,
Mm.
just thrashing around on the table and everything. That was so freaking creepy. Like, yeah, that was one of the things. Like I said before, there were a lot of things that stuck to my mind, and I didn't want to mention that one because this one does happen towards the end. But yeah, that was a very strong visual.
And sound with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed that that part. Yeah, but again, that's I don't know. That was oh, and the very ending, like that was a kind of ambiguous, wasn't it? So like when he's walking down the street and you see the dark figure in the background, like um
Yeah, and it's all out of focus. So at first I thought it was
hmm,
the other guy leaving,
yeah.
because he was dressed in black.
Hmm.
But then yeah, it starts walking down the street and you're like, oh, is that the
The
spirit
the
creature
demon thing,
thing?
yeah.
Now looking for its next victim, because in those
Hmm.
flashbacks it shows it, wandering through the forest
Hmm.
until it found the guy. And
Yeah.
so now that this other guy has fought it off, is
Hmm.
it going around to try and find its next victim?
Yeah, so I thought that was actually a really interesting way to end it. So yeah, well, yeah, that's but that's all the spoilers that I had for that one. Did you have anything that one? No. Eurotrip, which you would ordinarily think, how could that possibly have spoilers? But I do actually have one. Um, at the end where Scott has accidentally wrapped himself up and and everyone thinks he's the new Pope. Which again, like that whole silly element, like of him getting caught up in the curtain and like, I mean, come on, like it was just so silly. But when he comes down into the Vatican Square or whatever, and to meet up with Mike for the first time and stuff, there was a moment where I always like, well, when I first saw it, I guess mostly, but when he spills his heart out to her and he's like, okay, so what do you think? And she's like, well, I think. And did you have that moment where it's kind of like, oh, is she going to turn him down or something, or you know did you think they were going to have a happy ending?
Yeah, well, it kind of doesn't make it obvious who he is at the start, so it's kind
Hmm.
of a weird thing that he just launches into stuff and then
Yeah, yeah. Well,
you know
and I kind of thought maybe, for that reason she was going to say, well, no, sorry, buddy, but you told me
yeah,
to
well,
fuck off.
they
So
do never address that she thought he sent that horrible message to her,
yeah, yeah.
and
But
then that happens.
I really liked the ending though. It was, where she turns up and it turns out that she's his new roommate in college. And I like that whole element of
Highly coincidental.
yeah, yeah, but I like the that element where he says to her like, oh, but you're female. How are they letting you room with me or whatever? And she mentions that her name kind of sounds like Miley. Who would fall for that sort of thing? I thought that was really cute. So yeah, no, I liked the ending. I liked that the two of them ended up together and probably lived happily ever after. So yeah. So yeah, no, I dug the ending of the film. I thought it was good. So yeah. And one of the jokes that I wasn't going to mention before because I kind of thought it might be a little bit spoilery, but I love that bit where they're in the club and everyone's like absolutely wasted on absinthe or whatever, and they look over and it's like, oh wow, Jamie's hooking up with somebody or whatever, and then like, and you see him just getting like, you know, tongue deep into someone, and then they turn around and it's his sister.
Yeah,
I
I was waiting for you to bring that up.
well, for me on a personal level, it was even more funny because I have twin kids, and like Kylie and I, we were just like, one day we're going to show the kids this movie as a warning for, what not to do later on in life. I think it actually genuinely made the joke funnier, being that we have twins. And that was actually something I should have mentioned earlier. When I first saw this movie back in 2004, of course, Michelle Trachtenberg, Travis Wester, they're playing twin brother and sister, and they don't look anything alike. And at the time, I was like, they're supposed to be twins. Like, I don't see any similarity whatsoever. Like, this is, really ridiculous casting. And of course, I didn't know at the time about the whole concept of fraternal twins, which my kids are. They were conceived on two separate days. They just happened to grow together and were born at the same time, and they don't look alike. And so, yeah, like it's really interesting now, now that I know about all this sort of stuff, to see things like this. And it's like, okay, now I get it. Like, yep, you can have twins that look nothing alike. So, Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess like yeah, this maybe that's why I gave it an extra half star because I kind of resonate with this movie a little bit more now. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah, so your half star off was because you couldn't believe they were actually twins, and
yeah,
so now
maybe.
you've solved that.
No, I don't know why I didn't give it a perfect five previously. I think maybe I rated it on here even though I hadn't actually seen it in a long time. It might have been when I was doing that list of my 100 favorite movies, thing that you forced me to do. Um, you did. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
maybe.
don't even have that anymore because it's too hard to keep up
Yeah, right.
because it's
Yeah,
always changing when you've got that many movies.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I just changed it to my top, well, my favorites, which I think is at 25 or
Right, right.
30 or something.
But no, because at the time I thought I had to log well, to rate
Yeah.
every movie, and so I was just like five, five, 4.5. Like, so yeah, I obviously, just hadn't seen this in quite a while, and so I thought, did I love it? 4.5. But no, having watched it again, 5 stars. There you go. Did you have any spoilery stuff for Eurotrip? No, that's it. All
No,
right. Well, in that case, we're getting out of here. Thank you everyone for getting into Spoilersville with us. And yeah, once again, next time, Evil Dead 1, 2, Phantasm, Blood-sucking freaks. Stay safe. Watch lots of movies. Bye for now.